$30,000 to $40,000 a year. What does that tell you? Who has the buying power? Where are they?
Here.
Right? So guaranteed conversions, right? Who has current customers in the business at the moment? Raise your hands. Okay. So you take that list, you go to LinkedIn, and you know how Facebook has a lookalike audience and create your audience, custom audience? LinkedIn has the exact same thing. So if I sell my services to dentists, I would just take 50 emails of dentists and then give it to LinkedIn and help me find more of those. Okay, so very important. Vice versa, you can do that on a Facebook too. Extract all the contacts from LinkedIn and go to Facebook and build a custom audience or a lookalike audience to target. Pretty easy, right? Feed hacking. Get up every day, find a trending topic in your industry. Something which people see, and they basically excited to share, or they're compelled by it to click. Because it's something you're sharing that they haven't came across. So you sell insurance, sir. Yes, you say that Jason Kenney has lifted the cap on auto insurance, correct? I think so. He's an asshole because he did that, and my auto insurance will go up now. But he did that, so that's the news should be shared.
I don't want a political statement, so I wouldn't.
But smart answer, eh? Here's a conservative order we have. But the idea is what? The idea is that if you sell insurance and something came up in the insurance industry, then talk about that, right? It's good that it's controversial. It's good. You need to poke people. You don't need to have opinion about it, but you can still have a question, right? But pick up trending topics. Super easy, because if you are the only one who's talking about that day, then you will get a lot of real estate on your feed, basically. Okay. How can you expand your network on LinkedIn? Simple idea. Go to my network. Go to this middle tab, and you can connect your different email accounts where you have your phone. Sync LinkedIn with your phone, so it basically picks up all the contacts and adds them to your LinkedIn profile. So you can expand your network pretty fast like that. Groups, low-hanging fruits. Okay. See, LinkedIn groups are like Facebook groups. They are like your backyards of people where neighbors are hanging out. They're talking about what she's cooking, what he's cooking, or who she's getting married to. That's what happens on Facebook groups, right? LinkedIn groups are different way, but they're also very hyperactive. So if you want to find tribes of conversation, you go and find LinkedIn groups. Okay? But what you have to do, if you're an accountant, right, you're not basically going and joining other accounting groups. You're going and joining other business groups. But that's where your clients are. There is a group on LinkedIn about every damn topic, and it's so easy to get in front of them. Okay. LinkedIn Sales Navigator. How many of you guys are paying for LinkedIn Sales Navigator at the moment? I'm the only one. LinkedIn finally convinced me. Shit. Alright. I sell this and I felt pray for it, right? Okay. LinkedIn Sales Navigator, why is it a good product, guys? Why? It's an AI-driven platform. It will basically help you find the leads. If you are in a big ticket business, I would have a Sales Navigator, period. Because it's bringing you very specific targeted contacts to me, which I can basically, you are again, life insurance agent, you work with legal industry more, and health business owners. The LinkedIn Sales Navigator will help you basically find those specific people based on your criteria, and it's also AI driven now. So that $99 actually go far, and just a trick, right? Get a trial, play with it. If you don't like it, just cancel it. And you know what? Even if you cancel after 2-3 months, you reach out to LinkedIn, they do give you money back. So just so you know that, play around with it. That's not a wasted dollars, you should have it. Okay. Do you know that if you go in a group, you can personally message any group member on LinkedIn. If they are not your contact, then you cannot. But it's okay if they're third connection, fourth connection, doesn't matter. You can message anyone on a LinkedIn groups, anyone. So if you join Edmonton Business Owners Group, let's say, now you have access to that 500 members. Right? Download your list of connections on LinkedIn. Do you know that you can do that? You can do pretty crazy stuff with it. I won't say it because of CAN spam law, but having someone's email is pretty powerful, right? We can run Facebook ads on it. You can do a bunch of things on it. So it's very, very powerful. It's simple that if I want to go and do business as a ATB Financial, I go and add 15 decision makers, get their emails, and freaking chase the heck out of them everywhere online. Smart. Sorry?
Doing a spam for
It's fun, right? See, when you spam, that's true, spam. Doing it smartly is not spam. When you show people irrelevant offers and irrelevant services and products who are not your good customers, of course they think it's spam. But when it's presented to the right person at the right time, it's offered at the right time. It's a completely different thing. On the principle, I agree with you. As a marketer, I don't. Alright, so this is what do. You go and search. See, LinkedIn search is very, very powerful, right? It works like Google. So if I search for website development, I find 97,000 results. But if I search for website development in Washington, DC, I get 159 results. So you see that the search is actually helping you get to the right person. Managing partners of financial companies in Edmonton. And it's a knowledge graph search, means that you can go with descriptions too, and it will help you find, it will scan their profile content and help you find those people, because sometimes you don't know their position. So the LinkedIn search is a very powerful tool if you use it effectively, basically. Okay. So how many of you guys have seen this, when you go on profile, there's suggested profiles which come up like this on your profile. Disable that. Because LinkedIn is actually suggesting more people like you from your profile. So just disable that, because in most cases that's your competitors. And you can do that in the privacy settings easily. So this is how you will follow the framework of finding people on LinkedIn. Okay. First, you will going to create a list. Now someone will ask me, how many people in the list? Well, whatever floats your boat, 5, 10, 15, 20. If you can nurture 200 people at the same time, you're a Superman. But choose 10, 15, 20 people who you can basically target. Okay. Then it's similar like dating, right? And we talked about, right? We don't buy insurance in the first go. Okay. It's like any relationship. 9 minutes. Seriously? See, you're so passionate, you get lost. Okay. So this is what I will do. I would basically define my prospects. I was like, is it a realtor, mortgage broker? Are they an HR? Are they an accountant? Are they a lawyer? Then I further define it by which city they live in, what companies they work for, what gender they are in, what role in the company they have. So you see the micro you are going now to the right person for the decision making? This is an example of managing partner of law firms in Edmonton who are on LinkedIn, who are my second connections, and there are 26 results. How precise is that, guys? Tell me another platform which can give you that. There's none. You can save your searches, you can create list, and then go and save your searches, and then basically you can come back and nurture them. Let's say one list with dentists, one list with accountant, one list with lawyers, and you can keep nurturing it. LinkedIn Pulse. How many of you guys publish on LinkedIn? I will highly, highly recommend it. If you have a blog, if you have a video, whatever you share, try to share it on LinkedIn and try to publish that. Let's say if you wrote a blog, take first 200 words, publish as an article on LinkedIn, and take people to your blog. If you have a video on YouTube, publish that as an article on LinkedIn, and take people back to your video. LinkedIn loves original content on it. So use LinkedIn basically to give it more content. It's like, LinkedIn is that lonely friend who loves attention. So you go and talk to LinkedIn, and LinkedIn also gives you attention back, right? All right, publish often, simple. The more you publish, the better do you do. Videos outperform every damn thing, period. I would second Jared what he said about videos. Produce, guys. Don't give a shit how do you look. That's how you are. It is what it is, right? Just show up then, right? Okay. So, someone is not on LinkedIn. What to do? There's a Chrome extension called Find Any Email on LinkedIn. It's a free extension. Go and use it. Okay. You guys can basically extract anyone's email. There's another extension called Get Prospect. This is the second one. The third one is called Reporter. Fourth one is called Discover.ly. You will have this presentation, so you don't have to go this fast. Hunter is another extension for Chrome. These are 5 extensions. I'm giving it to you. This can freaking help you find anyone's email address. What do you do with it? That's the second thing. But finding someone's email address, that's very powerful, right? All right. LinkedIn InMail has a high open rate than a cold email. How many of you guys open up your phone when the LinkedIn message comes in versus cold email comes in? We all love attentions. We get the ching. We're like, well, someone liked it. Who is it? Okay. All right. So Mitch is going to be kicking me out from here. So I'm just going to be very quickly, okay? Ask questions, guys. I think Scott and Danielle was talking about, have a conversation with them. The more you're going to ask, you will be surprised at how much people they. People are regularly you talk to them, I don't have time. And you go to the Facebook and they have a comment on the cat video. So we are all like that. So when you engage with them, they're going to engage more. End of the day, people ask me, individual page or a company page, always have individual pages because it has more reach. If you want to run ads, you're going to use company pages because like Facebook, you cannot run it on your individual pages. Okay, pretty straightforward. Growth hacking, LinkedIn list. We talked about that. Download the list, go to Facebook Manager, create a custom audience, and retarget the heck out of it. No spamming. All right. This is how I reach out on LinkedIn. I love to feature your professional story on our blog. Do you have time to bump on my podcast with several thousand listeners? Wouldn't you reply to that, sir?
I would love to.
There you go, right? So, do you understand that how you basically get a hook and get people to respond to you? Rather than hey, my name is Ali and I do marketing. Do you need SEO? Fuck off, man. Seriously, get out of here. But even those SEO guys send it to me when I sell SEO. This is the state of cold emailing, right? But this is how you basically play on their ego and get an insane response rate. It's amazing how much response rate you get. This is LinkedIn profile badges. I will highly recommend you to have it on your About Us page. Your About Us page is the website's second most visited page. Doesn't matter you have a product website, doesn't matter you have a service website. It's a personal connection. See, when I go on your Facebook profile, I don't get to learn a lot about you. When I go on your LinkedIn profile, somehow we have that professional connection. It's an amazing way of earning a trust. SlideShare. How many of you guys have heard about SlideShare? It's part of LinkedIn. It's an amazing way to build links, and also it's an amazing way to basically post your content. You created a case study for a client, share it on SlideShare, and then share it on LinkedIn. Okay. And also, if you want to research for content in your industry, go and look at SlideShare. It has depository of presentations, ideas, about every damn topic. Okay. LinkedIn native video gives you these stats, right? That 45 people viewed it in Calgary, 41 people who have viewed it, they are CEOs. This is where they work. Where else do I get these stats? This is LinkedIn gives it to you. Precise damn stats, who is watching your video. That's powerful, guys. If I'm nurturing someone, that's powerful. Okay. Define your profile, because if you are not, this is on the Starbucks says we have an amazing coffee. That the store looks amazing from outside. And you come inside and it's like shit. Don't make your profile be like that. Work at it. Your profile is your website. You can add so many sections to it. You can make it shiny. But most of us don't do that. We leave our profiles as it is in the basic format, right? Okay. And I've been told. 2 more minutes? Okay. Alright, so define your profile, always have a properly clear headline, okay? Always have a clear link architecture, like linkedin.com/James Seaton rather than linkedin.com/1234 James. Okay. 13 times profiles are more viewed where the skills and profile is completed. So I don't need to convince you more on go and work on your profile. So one thing if you learn from today, go and damn work on your profile. Right. Pretty basic stuff. This is a whole sheet, and when you get a presentation, you can go over it on how to optimize your profile. So it's pretty straightforward for you guys, okay? Add shiny sections to your website. This is how you optimize your LinkedIn header. So you see this is Melanie Dodaro. She's a LinkedIn expert. And if you see, it's so nicely done. She has a freebie here, then she has 3 call to actions, and her website. LinkedIn ads. How many of you guys have played around with LinkedIn ads? I would just take $10 a day, okay, and test it out. The reason is, in certain sectors, it's really, really powerful, and click per cost is much cheaper in certain industries. Let's say legal industry is much cheaper than going to Google. If you're a corporate lawyer, then you should be doing marketing on LinkedIn. So if it works for your industry, it's a really, really good ads program. Okay. There are different kind of ads, right? And one of the ways where I really like LinkedIn is sponsored in-mails. Means that I can send 50 financial advisors specific marketing messages. But just don't be like that awkward guy who walked to the bar and says, let's go home. Because if you're going to do that, you're burning money. But if you have a strong offer, if you have something to sell to them, and it's not like, they find it valuable, see how powerful it is. You're specifically going after 50 people. That's powerful. Right? The Blizzard does a real estate property investor, like RPR reports.
Yes.
And RPR reports are done by, let's say, investors and realtors or no. You can specifically reach realtors, just realtors. Right? And realtors who are also working with Remax, let's say if they are doing more transactions than other 2% realties. Right? This is the stats program look like. You can target based on so many different things, right? You can customize it. So when I give you the presentation, make sure you go around and play with it a lot, okay? LinkedIn also have a pixel tracker like Facebook. It can track conversions for you when you run ads. So it's a pretty powerful program, guys. Go and dabble with it. As I said, play around with little money, but play with it. Okay. Growth hacking LinkedIn newsfeed. Okay. I will just quickly sum it up here that if you want to appear on LinkedIn newsfeed, what LinkedIn does, it shows, let's say this is all of your friends, right? Okay. LinkedIn will only show selected people here. Then LinkedIn is trying to see that how many people within the first group basically react with the content. Based on that, it shows to more people. So it's like steps, right? If you win the first step, then you get the right to play the second game. So think like that when you're trying to growth hack the LinkedIn newsfeed. Okay. Create an editorial calendar. Me and Mitch, clearly we don't go to the gym because we don't have a calendar or schedule. Guys who struggle on LinkedIn, they don't show up regularly. You know why they don't show up regularly? They don't have a game plan. They wing it. They show up one day, they're gone for 3 weeks. They show up one more day, then they're gone for 2 days. Does Game of Thrones do that to you? No, right? Why the hell do you do that to your audience? Be consistent with your content. Consistent trips. Okay? People move on. You don't show up. I listen to your podcast in the morning. You don't show up on Monday. Thank you, sir. I have another podcast to listen to. It's very hard to get in someone's routine. It's very easy to get someone out of your routine. Think about that. Okay. This is a case study we did. We created a Castle checklist, talk about spam, and we created a LinkedIn campaign. We sent it to 10 people. 4 people downloaded it, 1 people converted into a client. And I think it was around $15 or $20 campaign. So I'm just telling you the power of it. We didn't sold it directly. We sent them like checklist when the canned spam law came in. And this all went to the bigger companies who are basically running a decent sized organizations who wanted to have this in place. So you don't directly go and sell. When you're going to go and sell it, people will be gone. Okay. They will evaporate. This is a tool called tagdef.com. You can discover hashtags, the hashtags which are trending on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on different platforms, right? Crystalknows.com. It's one of my favorite tools. Crystal knows about when you're writing it, it gives you context and it suggests you to what you should be basically working on, as in it can paraphrase it better for you. Okay. There is another tool, it's called Ink. Ink. It's also AI-driven content writer, which you can use. Duck Soup. Okay. What is Duck Soup, right? What you can do is you can say you work with business owners. You get to Duck Soup, it connect with your LinkedIn profile. Every day, it will go and visit 20 business owners' profile. It will visit twice or thrice, whatever you said. It will send them a message. Basically, it will nurture them on automation. It's a tool, I think it costs $100 a year, and I would have it regardless. That's a very powerful tool. Seamless.ai. For $97 a month, you can get unlimited list for any business anywhere out there. You want to get list for all the photographers in Canada? You can download that. $97 a month. Unlimited downloads. Seamless.ai, it's an AI-driven data mining tool. I'm done. All right. Okay. There are some free resources. When we are sending you the presentation, all of the speakers' presentation will be sent to you, and along with that, all the other resources, extra resources will be sent to you. When it comes to LinkedIn, there's some extra course, some implementation guideline, and some ads, stuff, which I will have it with the free resources, so it can help you implement in your marketing. Okay. Questions, guys? We'll take 2 questions. Okay.
I have a LinkedIn personal account, and under that account, I generate a page for my company, which is a company page. But sometimes I just got confused. Can I just log in at my company page and go follow other companies and post a picture or kind of thing? Do I have to log into my personal account and
So first of all, to access LinkedIn company page, you have to go through your personal account regardless. Okay. You can post it under company, but company cannot connect with another person.
I'm sorry, can you say that?
You can post under company's page, but your company cannot send a connection request to someone.
Okay.
Only your personal profile can. But if you want to run ads, you can only do that under the company page. Like similar like Facebook. Under personal profile, you can add people, right? But as a page, you cannot add people.
Yeah,
Right?
that's
Similar, exactly similar on LinkedIn. Okay, so I would use your personal profile because it gives you more reach. And once you get a little bit bigger organization, then of course, like you start boosting the company page too. But if you have a choice, then I would pick individual over the company any day because it just has more reach. Period. One more question.
Excuse me, LinkedIn works algorithms too, like algorithms, like when they show the information they show, it depends on the people, like.
So the content you're consuming on LinkedIn is purely based on your preferences, your interests, like your conversations and things like that. Definitely you are being targeted. Your feed looks like what you would like to see. So there is an algorithm behind it, and that's what I talked about, that if you want to hack algorithm, you have to basically video is number one right now, which basically gets the most real estate on LinkedIn. Then it's your photo, then your links, and then you basically some other things.
You're
But-
talking about expanding, right? Like expanding when you're expanding your network,
Mhm.
how you expanding your network, the best way, like how you can connect with the right people.
So what I would do, I would create basically the criteria who I want to reach out. Then I would go and search it in the advanced LinkedIn search, okay? Then every day LinkedIn allows you to send certain invites. So I would start sending out 5, 10 invites every day. Now think about scalability. You did that for 30 days, it adds up. You did it for 60 days, now it adds up. Now it's a snowball. And it's a wheelhouse now. You don't need a sales navigator. You can actually do it. All it needs, LinkedIn, as I said, as a lonely friend, it needs some love. Go and spend some time on it. Do some activities on it, right? And that's where you will see that you will get more space on the algorithm in the feeds, and basically getting more momentum in the reach right here. Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
So who got their one thing? Who got more? Right? Every time I hear this guy talk, I learn something brand new. So I hope you guys definitely took as much away as possible. Now we're cooking along today, and we're running as quickly as possible. Two things. One, much like the great Tony Robbins, who I'm a great admirer of, we're probably going to run over time. But I promise not to go full Tony and have you here for an extra 3 hours. Okay? There's a contract we'll make right now. It's not going to be that long, but it'll be a little bit longer. Secondly, you all got some collateral when you came in after lunch, right? Have a look and have a read at some point. You want to look at there. It's going to come up at the end of the day. One of the little pieces actually has to do with our next speaker. It's a tiny little piece of paper. You're going to want this. You're going to want to look at it. Because when you're done, Miss Barbie Lee over here, fill it out, drop it in the bucket. That's going to be really, really important. The big ones we'll talk about a little later on, but I wanted to bring your attention to it very quickly. Now, our next speaker. She is a great friend of mine. She is a former client of mine. I had the opportunity to work with her early in her transformation, and now she is going absolutely colossal. Who here knows what Goalcast is? Goalcast? It's one of the largest online streaming platforms for video in the world. Think of it like TV online. Her program has had over 9 million views. Where would that rank you on your Monday night broadcast if you were on a regular television station? Right? Right through the roof. Multiple time speaker, TEDx, Blue Talks, etc. Multiple author, Goalcast, and of course, her story is incredible. Some of our speakers today have been about stuff, others are about story. Kelly is here to tell you about the power of story and how you can leverage yours in social media. My good friend, Kelly Flood.
Mitch.
Yes. somebody in IT, that's all.
I'm just gonna get started while they do that. So, when I was 11 years old, I walked past my teacher's desk, and I saw a picture that someone had drawn of me. And it was a circle, and it had scribbles all over it, and it said Scarface. And that was when I adopted my label as the ugly Scarface girl. You see, I got burnt when I was 2 years old. We lived on a farm. My parents were burning garbage. My cousins were throwing shingles in the fire. And a spark came out and landed on my dress. And I exploded. And I am covered in scars. I spent 4 months in the hospital. Every 2 days I'd be in the surgery. And then every 2 years until I was 20, I would have to go and spend 1 more month in the hospital having more surgeries. And so I figured out that I've spent probably about 18 months of my life in a hospital. And so I never ever thought I'd ever get married. I never thought I'd have kids. I never thought I'd be successful. I never thought I'd ever, have a TEDx stage. I never thought I'd ever win the medal from the Queen. I never thought I'd be a best-selling author. I never thought I would ever be anything more than the ugly Scarface girl. And so I want to share with you today, thank you, Mitch, how I took this painting of my story and got over 10 million views. So I'm really enjoying today because the guys have really been talking a lot about, and the girls have been talking a lot about the technical stuff, about how important it is that we do LinkedIn and we do Facebook, we do Instagram, we do all this stuff. And it's so totally true. And what I really love about anything to do with social media is that all of this stuff I've done has been for free. And in fact, when I paid for Facebook ads, I only got 5 sales at $15 a piece. And so I can honestly say that I've made a 6-figure income for free. All with the power of my story. And so I'm just going to share with you guys some random stories of things that I've used Facebook for. So for example, this painting. This is a crazy story. My best friend and I, it's family day. I'm upset, she's upset. We don't get to be with our kids for family day. And so I said to her, I'm bored. I'm bored with life. Like, things are going great, I'm speaking lots, I'm happy with that, but I'm missing something. And she said, Kelly, I see you painting in a huge way, making thousands of dollars. And I said, oh my God, you're so full of it. I am not a painter. She goes, no, Kelly, let's go to paint night. And I said, no, I'm not going to paint night. I'm going to drink wine in your hot tub. I know. And I won for once. For once I got to win the battle. Anyways, so the very next day, I go home, I look on Facebook, and I see a painting, and I'm like, oh my God, I gotta learn how to do that. And so I asked my friend, how did you do that? She gave me the name of the girl that she learned from, and I'm pissed off because the girl's in London, in the UK, and I want to learn how to do this, and I want to go somewhere in Edmonton to learn how to do this. And so, the amazing search engine we have called YouTube. Go to YouTube, Google her name. Sure enough, she's got all these YouTube videos on how to paint. So what do? I go and I watch all these videos. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so awesome. But it's 3 o'clock and it's nap time for me, because at this time I'm in a bit of a depression. And so it's my nap time, and I'm bored. So I go upstairs and I say to myself, what does my heart say? And I heard that little voice say, go paint. And I'm like, nah. And I said to myself again, what does my heart say? And I heard this time only louder, get up and go paint. And I was like, okay, fine. But I'm feeling guilty. Because at 3 o'clock, if I'm not napping, I should be working, right? 9 to 5, Monday to Friday is when we're supposed to be working. So I get up, and I had won a paint kit a year earlier, but I didn't want it. So I picked up this paint kit, I start painting, and I even made this painting, and all of a sudden I go and I put all these paintings on Facebook, and people were commenting, and they were liking, and people were saying, Kelly, I want to buy your painting. And one girl emailed me and she said, okay, how much for your painting? And I'm thinking, I don't know. I've only been painting one day. Right? Most painters don't make any money till they die. Right? Then they become famous. So it was like, oh my God, I don't know. I don't know how much to charge her for my painting. Right? So, but I am smart. I did say to her, how much do you offer? She said, I'll pay you $150. Wow. Sold. I made $1,000 in 1 week off my paintings. For free. I didn't have to pay for Facebook ads. I didn't pay for YouTube. I didn't pay for nothing. I just put it up on Facebook, and all of a sudden my friends were saying, we want to buy your painting. So then the next step, I wanted to find a way to do something more. So I found a place online that I could make a blanket with. Tom, can you come help me with this? And so I took my painting. Oh, you hold that corner, please. So this painting is actually this blanket. And it says, you are loved, you are needed, you're wanted. So what did I do? I pre-sold 100 blankets. And then what I did is I took that money and I invested in buying 1,000 blankets from China, had them shipped over here, and then what I did is that, then what I did is I just put it up on Facebook again, and I said, who wants to buy my blankets? And I gave this story about how the blankets are being used to help burn kids go to burn camp. So what I do is I go to different Rotary clubs and I go to different women's events and I ask people if they will sponsor blankets. And then we give the blanket to the kids at summer camp, to the kids who need to feel more loved, or needed, or wanted. And so just doing that, again, I didn't pay nothing for it. I just put it up on social media and I said, this is what I'm doing, who wants in? And people were sending me pictures of my blankets. And they were sending me pictures of their dogs with my blankets. They were sending pictures of their children in the hospital beds wrapped in the blanket. And they were sending pictures of superheroes. One girl sent me this picture on Facebook, and it was so incredible because it happened to be my birthday and she didn't know it. But she sent me this picture of her using my blanket, and she's on top of the mountain and she's got like the superhero cape, and it's my blanket. And I was like, oh my gosh, isn't this cool? The power of the story. So the next thing that happened was that I wanted to write my next book, which is called Still Beautiful. And Still Beautiful is my life story. And what happened is I decided that I wanted to make a documentary out of it. So I approached a broadcaster that I had worked with, and he said, okay, we want to look at it. We want to see your book proposal. And I said, okay. So I sent it to them, and they said to me, we want the project. We want to make this documentary. We're going to put the money into the pot. And I said, awesome. Okay? So, do you guys want to see the trailer for the documentary?
Yeah.
Okay, so, oh, I should say one more thing. When we did the documentary, then after that, I was, a friend of mine talked to me about Goalcast. And like Mitch was saying, it's incredible. If you want to know inspirational videos, you got to see Goalcast. So what happened is I sent the trailer for my documentary to Goalcast, and I said, do you guys want to make a video? Somebody had told me about you guys, and I love the work you do. And I don't know, here's my speech, because they like to take your speech, and then they convert it into a story. And this is what I loved about what Jared was saying, is a lot of times when you give them creative control, they actually can create a way better story than any of us can. And that is one of the things that I love. And when you see the Goldcast video, what they did is they took the trailer of my documentary and then they made it into their own story. And so it's pretty cool. So let's Oops. Okay. You guys can't hear the audio.
Obviously, you can
Okay.
take it forever. When I got married as a 2-year-old, we were burning garbage, or the spark came out, and
Landed on my dress, and I got burnt to most of my body. And then I went to school, and as you can imagine, you know how we get called all these horrible names. Well, I remember in grade 5, I walked past my teacher's desk, and I saw a picture, and it said Scarface. And when I saw that picture, I knew that the kids were calling me this ugly Scarface girl, and I was devastated. I just wanted to be beautiful. And I would say, dear God, please don't make me wake up in the morning. But if I have to, can I at least be scarlet so I can be pretty like all the other girls? And when I was 18, it was time to graduate from high school. And my grandma says to me, Kelly, I will make you any dress that you want. And I said, okay, can you make me a white dress? What my grandma didn't know is the reason that I wanted to wear a white dress was because I figured this might be my only opportunity to ever wear something that might look like a wedding dress, because I figured I would never ever get married. And the mirror says to me, you're too ugly. No boy's gonna want to take you to grad. No boy's gonna want to be your prom date. But I wanted so badly to wear that white dress. And so I asked Paul to be my date. And maybe my mirror's wrong. Maybe I'm not.
But he said yes to me. And I was like, awesome, awesome. Somebody wants to be my date. You can read it.
I realized one thing. I'm not this ugly Scarface girl anymore. Neither of us are ugly. That mirror does not talk. Those feelings are us. They're in our heart. They're in our head. We are the ones who are in control of our thoughts and our feelings and our emotions. So you can imagine, I never thought I'd ever get married, but I did find someone who married me, and now we're divorced. And I did end up having 3 beautiful kids. And it was so beautiful having a daughter, because I've always wondered what would I look like without scars. And having my daughter gave me an idea. Quit comparing yourself to other people. Every single one of you has an amazing power, an energy inside of you, and every single one of you have differences. Let's celebrate those differences. Those differences are what make us special and unique. Those differences are what make us who we are. Those differences are, the beautiful, incredible people we are. And even though I knew the kids were calling me the Scarface girl, I am Kelly.
I am Kelly.
And I am still beautiful. Cool. So that is just, 9.5 million views for free. And the cool thing is they put it out on their platform, and they've actually launched it about 2 or 3 different times. And I've gotten leads from it. I got a $5,000 speaking gig in Kentucky from that free video. And so Oh, right. I call the actions at the end of this one. To book me for your event. So another thing that I've done is, it's all about building your tribe, building your community. Social media is all about the long game. Sometimes there's instant results and sometimes there isn't. And so my tribe, they know me. They know who I am and what I do. They know that I'm vulnerable. They know that I share my story. For example, I even shared when I got my tattoo. My daughter said, "Mom, let's get Still Beautiful tattooed on each other." So she says, "I'll write it for you, you write it for me." And so sure enough, I've got it on my arm. And so when we got our tattoos done, we did Facebook Live video. Something like 1,700 people watched me get a tattoo. I was like, what? And like even my friends will still tell me, this was like a year ago, they'll still tell me, "Yeah, I watched you getting a tattoo," and I'm like, why? Why? Like, why? I don't understand. Why is that interesting? And my friends all said, it's interesting. And I'm like, okay, I don't get it, but whatever, right? I just don't understand it. But it's true, people want to be involved in your life. And that's the power of the social media, is just doing these things that are going to help you. My book launches, for example, like I put it out there. I'm doing a book. In fact, my latest book, some of you guys are gonna laugh. It's called The 5 Different Types of Men on the Dating Sites and How to Spot Them. I know, right? And I do have some for sale, and they're pretty cool. But here's what I did with this. And I actually did a case study about it. So what happened was my friends were saying to me, "Kel, you've been on the dating sites, tell us about it," right? And I said, well, I realized there's 5 different types of men. And all my friends were like, "Oh my God, tell me about that." So I did a Facebook Live video. I talked about it for about 20 minutes. And then I went to Fiverr, got somebody to transcribe the book, or transcribe the video for me. And then I made the book. And then I went to Fiverr again. I got somebody to create the cover. And then I put the book together, uploaded it onto Amazon, and now I'm ready to sell it. And so it's so super cool, right? Because I did it with $40 and like 2 hours of my time. So that's how easy it is to use your story to make money or to make an impact. And so now what I'm going to do is follow Mitch's advice and Aaron's advice, and now I'm going to break that video up into 5 smaller videos, put it on YouTube, and then people can go and find out what the 5 different types of men are, right? And how to spot them. And it's so super cool. So that's another way that I've used social media. TEDx, people ask me too, how did you get on TEDx stage? How did you do that? So I did hire a coach, and because I wanted to do TEDx talk. And so he says to me, okay, what you need to do is research your topic. Now I've been speaking for about 9 years, but I needed to do something different for TED. So I said, okay, and I was going to do a Me Too from the parent's perspective. Both of my boys have been violated by girls. And so I thought, I want to do a Me Too talk, Me Too from the parent perspective. So I put it up on Facebook and I said, I'm thinking about doing a TEDx talk about Me Too from the parent perspective. Well, I actually got people warning me not to do it. So I'm like, okay, fine, I'm not going to do it. So then I put up on Facebook, I'm going to do my TEDx speech on ugly is still beautiful. But ugly is an acronym. So it means the unique, gorgeous, lovable you is still beautiful. So anyways, so I'm going to put that up on, do that as a topic for TEDx. I got like 200 comments. People were like, oh my God, that's amazing. Some didn't like it. And then here's where the magic happened. A girl contacted me. She said, Kelly, I just got my TEDx license. I'm doing a TEDx event in Dallas, and I'd be honored to have you on my stage. You don't even have to apply. I love your topic, love who you are. I want you on my stage. That's how I got the TEDx. I had no idea that she was a TEDx event planner. No idea. But because I put it out there on Facebook and said, I want to do a TEDx talk, this is going to be my topic, she found me for free. So I know sometimes it's so hard for us to be vulnerable. It's so hard for us to put our lives out there and we think we have to be perfect. We don't. Just put it out there, get that content out there so that you can get people involved with you, involved with your lives. And so I want to share a couple things that I'm doing. Because I do coaching to get people started as speakers. I've got information here about that. I also have author coaching. So anybody that wants to learn how to be an author, maybe even a best-selling author, I've got coaching for that too. And in fact, me and my business partner are planning a cruise. So I've been wanting to go on a cruise. And I have this thing that everything I do has to be about business. It's not always a good thing. I don't really relax very often. But I thought I've always wanted to go on a cruise, so why not make it business? So anyways, it's going to be a publish and market your book cruise. And it's going to be March 29th to April 4th. We're looking for a couple of speakers that are involved with marketing or publishing books. We're going to do a workshop on it. You're going to actually have a finished book by the end of the cruise. So if you want to do that, let me know. Oh, and the draw splits. Let's do the draw. Because I have a free blanket to give away. So let's do that. Have you been collecting them? Anybody else here is bag here? If you want to take it and pass it down, please. So,
Hold them in half, hold them up when you got them.
one other thing I have is, if you want to book like a free 10-minute discovery call with me, feel free to text me at that number. I'm going to get to the right to the back page. Hang on. So yeah, if you want to book a discovery call and actually even download the case study to create that book, because a lot of people come to me and they think, oh my gosh, creating a book is so overwhelming, it's so time consuming, I can't do it. And I'm going to show you how to do it in 3 days and 3 easy steps. So if you want access to that, just go to this number and text author. And when you text the word author, you'll also get my calendar link. So if you want to book a discovery call, also if you're interested in the cruise, my email is on there. So you can connect with me there.
Can you read it out for the people in the back? Read the number.
Read the number? Oh, sure. 1-877-414-1768.
Last chance.
And I'm going to end this with one cute little story. I have to tell this story, especially because there's a whole bunch of great people in the room. So, you know, when I first got my divorce, I didn't date at all. I was like, I did not want to date. I was so focused on being a speaker and being a best-selling author and all this stuff, and I didn't date. So for the first year and a half. And so it was interesting because I was thinking, okay, how come I'm not being asked out on dates, even though I tell myself I don't want to date, right? Crazy thing. So I said, I don't want to date. And then I'm asking, why am I not dating? And so I said, you know, is it that people think I'm too busy? Or is it because I'm a speaker, people think I'm already dating somebody? Or is it my scars? Is it because people think I'm not beautiful enough to date? And all my friends said, no, you gotta go do online dating. That's the only way people are dating and stuff like that, so you gotta do that. And I'm like, oh my God, that just sounds so creepy. But I thought, okay, whatever. So the first guy I talked to says, no, sorry, your scars would bother me. I can't date you. And I said, okay, 1 down, 2 million to go. I got some odds there, right? There's gotta be some guy that's gonna want me. So I go out with the second guy, and he's only 28, and I'm at this time, I think I'm 46 or 47, something like that. And I'm thinking, oh my God, what am I doing going out with a 28-year-old, you know? Like, this is just crazy, and I'm not telling anybody how young he is, right? So I go, and I think, I just need some kind of, maybe some guy wants me, right? So anyways, After a couple hours, I see his credit card, and I said, "Is that really your last name?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Okay. Well, any chance you're from Vegreville?" And he said, "Yes, I am." He said, "In fact, my great-grandparents still own the original family farm." And I was like, "Oh, great, we're cousins." I know, right? I know. I thought it was doomed. So anyways, I just want to share with you, go after social media, use your stories. It's your stories that are going to get people to be a part of you, and who are going to want to connect with you, who are going to want to buy from you, who are going to trust you. And so use the power of your stories in all of your social media. Don't be so technical. Be vulnerable, be open, be willing to share your heart, and I promise you, social media is going to benefit you in incredible ways. So thank you for having me. Okay, we're going to make the draw. You want to do the draw?
That's the end of the day.
The end of the day, okay. We shall do that. So if you haven't put your name in, come see me at my table and we can put it in again.
Kelly. Who got their one thing? Who got their one thing? There we go, that's what we want to see. We're going to roll right into the next one. This is the storytelling portion. This is where we learn the power of story this afternoon. Why? Because we've heard some technical things this morning. We've heard the way that we want to engineer manufacture, the way we want to work at it, what we have to do from a behavior standpoint. But if you've got the stuff right and you don't have the story, who's going to believe you? Who would believe Kelly? There you go. So here's somebody else just as believable for a very different reason. Another great friend of mine, and I've known Mark for years. He is a former Sandler sales trainer. If anyone knows what that is, one of the top sales training systems in the world. Best-selling author, podcast pioneer, real estate agent, and all-around fantastic human being. Mark Meinke.
Well, we got a good-looking crowd here tonight. I feel incredibly underdressed. I took my motorcycle here from Okotoks. It was a little bit chilly. I should have actually dressed for a snowmobile trip instead of a motorcycle trip, but here we are. So I am Mark Meinke. I now live in Okotoks, just south of Calgary. I used to live up here, so I'm a local. Grew up in Sherwood Park in Ardrossan, and raised a family in Ardrossan while my real estate business that was up here was doing quite well. And the marriage wasn't, though. So you might find if you got any friends that are realtors, do a little lap around the office and you're going to see on their wall the awards. Realtors love their awards, 100% club and all these things. And you can always tell when there's like good award, little tiny award, then the big ones again. So well, what's that dip? Well, that was the divorce year. And in pretty much every real estate office, you're going to see that. However, they all bounce back. When my marriage came grinding to a halt, mine didn't bounce back, and I didn't know why. Everybody else could seem to push through, and you go around the office, divorce. Reminded me of when I was a soldier. It was a pretty high divorce rate in that profession as well. But I couldn't bounce back, and it all came crashing down. So I lost everything. I lost my house. It was foreclosed on, bankrupt, kicked out of the house, and I was done. So I knew that I couldn't continue trying to be a realtor at that time because I was too grumpy and I was so angry, and it was starting to come out with the clients. That's not good because you very, very quickly get a bad reputation. And my reputation was pretty good among my clients and among the other realtors. I was doing okay. And I just knew that I couldn't keep this up because I'm going to burn all my bridges. So I decided to do other stuff. A couple years later, I met a girl that actually liked me for a change. That was a nice difference. And like, oh, I like this. And she likes me. But that girl ended up moving south to Okotoks because she's a school principal, and that is just not the type of opportunity that you can turn down because she went from vice principal to principal. So, of course, I followed her and had to restart everything. Now, at this time, I was starting to recover from the first marriage. I was feeling a little bit better. My temper was getting better, but it wasn't great. I still had this temper, and I wasn't sure why. It was a bad one, too. But I decided to move south anyway, and I thought, oh God, do I really want to start a real estate business from zero? Starting any business from zero, not great. It is a tough grind. But I decided to do it, and I thought, Jesus, I don't know anybody here in Okotoks. I don't know a blessed soul. So your network is your net worth. Your network is your net worth, and I knew this. So what the hell am I going to do? So what I did is took extreme measures to try to balance it all out. I figured, damn it, I'm going to make this work. So I started the Okotoks Business Association. The Okotoks Business Association is now in its third year. It's running well. I stepped down. I nominated a president who, thank God, she said yes, and she's running it. Now all I got to do is show up. Way better than organizing it. And it helped. It helped with the business. And I thought, no, this isn't enough. If I'm really going to get embedded in the business community, what can I do? So I thought, I used to have this little real estate guide that I wrote when I lived in Sherwood Park called the Real Estate Guide. It was just for buyers and sellers. So I said, well, let's kick that stuff up a notch. Let's make this happen. No excuses. Screw the bad economy. I don't care. I'm going to make this stuff happen. So I started writing a book called The Home Seller's Bible for Homeowners, Agents, and Investors. Available on Amazon.com and Amazon.ca. Home Seller's Bible for Homeowners, Agents, and Investors. Well, I got about 100 pages written of content myself, just from years of experience and from that old one that I'd written before. And then I kind of ran out of steam, and I thought, there's not enough here. Because as a realtor, I'm a generalist, not a specialist. I needed more meat and potatoes. So what I did is I gathered other experts, other industry leading experts that were local. I thought, oh, I'm cooking an idea here. I think this is going to be smart. Because I thought, brand leveraging and leveraged marketing. I think I got me an idea. So the idea was, go to the lawyer and say, hey lawyer, are you a published author? You're not. Well, I've already got this other book that I did before. I'm doing this book now for $1,000. I'll give you a section, minimum 750 words, and away we go. And poof, you'll be a published author. And I do have some background and how to make it actually work and get some good marketing with it. Are you in? And everybody said yes. It was the easiest thing. I didn't use any of my sales ninja tactics, none of it. I just told them the idea, and they said yes. Then the next one said yes. And then the next one said yes. I ended up with 10 other industry experts to write the Home Seller's Bible for homeowners, agents, and investors, available at Amazon.com. Amazon.com. And then the book launch was starting to get close. I had 278 pages. It was looking meaty. And then I started doing some research into my project. I was just ready, fire, go, to just go with this thing. And I started looking around, like, oh my God, I got more excited about the project, because I realized nobody in the history of the real estate industry, which is about 120 years old, give or take, nobody's ever done this before. Ever. Nobody's ever put together a full comprehensive guide for buyers, sellers, homeowners, investors, and agents. Nobody's ever done this before with all the other experts. I thought, man, this is going to fly. This is going to really do well. So as we got close to book launch, things on the outside were looking good, and I was getting lots of likes on social media, and stuff was good, but stuff was not great at home. And I thought, oh God, this is familiar. I've been down this road before. This isn't good. And I still had this problem with my temper, and I didn't know why. And then one day, we're at the kitchen table, and my youngest, I got 2 boys, sweet, sweet little boys. And my youngest, Dawson, he was about 8 years old. And he takes his plate to the dishwasher, and the plate tips, and just a few crumbs hit the ground. They hit the ground, and I hit the roof. Over a few crumbs. And I'm down, Dawson, what are you doing? And I watched his face melt. I was breaking my kid. I was hurting my child. My wife put her hand on my shoulder and said, honey, they're just crumbs. We can clean it up. And then I realized, oh shit, I do have a problem. And that was the day that I reached out for help. Now, how does this all go together? I know, it seems like I'm taking a couple of different paths. On the outside, I was rocking and rolling, I was working on my second book, doing a project that was epic, historic, it's never been done before, but on the inside, things weren't good. Because you see, I'm a combat veteran. Way back in the 90s, I served as an infantry soldier. And part of my service included a tour of Croatia. Now, if anybody remembers the early 90s, there was a horrible series of wars cascading through the Balkans, through the breakup of the former Yugoslavia. And a term that I absolutely hate is ethnic cleansing. It was genocide, it was horrible, and I was there. I was there in 1994 in the heat of it, in a place called Ukraina. It was the most heavily mined area in the world at the time. And I did not know that that caused problems that went undiagnosed for over 20 years. So here I am rock and rolling with all these projects, and then I come to the sudden realization of, shit, I got a whole new hill to climb. It's hard enough writing a book, getting all these experts together, trying to relaunch a business from zero, but I've got to sort this shit out, and this has to take priority. And little did I know the road that it would take me on. So I reached out for help, started with the Operational Stress Injury Clinic, therapy, group, peer support, the whole 9 yards. And I started on the road to recovery, and my temper started to get better. This is good. Still struggling with suicidal thoughts and all these things, not fun. I never wanted to commit suicide, but the thoughts were in my head 10, 12 times a day. They were called intrusive thoughts. They're one of the many, many side effects of trauma. You don't want them in there, that's why they're intrusive, they're not a good time. But as I was going forth, I thought, okay, I gotta get back on this book thing. I've got 10 authors that are all invested, they all gave me $1,000 each, and we gotta launch this thing. So I have to balance this. I thought, all right, how am I gonna do that? And while I was mulling this over and going down this path of PTSD, and I started to realize, I went over 20 years without diagnosis. Over 20 years. There's got to be others just like me that are being assholes in their home life and they don't connect the dots to their service. A plus B is just not equaling C. They don't get it. So I felt this responsibility to share my story with others so that maybe a little light bulb will go off and they too will reach out for help. So one day, I got my laptop out and sparked it up. No gear, just a laptop. Zero technical gear whatsoever. And I just told my story. Told the story of my young boy Dawson and me blowing up at him for the umpteenth time and how it was damaging him and hurting him and how I needed to change. Because I realized it. And I told the story of my service and I told the story of the symptoms and how the recovery was starting to happen. And I did it on the Facebook Live, so there's no turning back. Well, son of a bitch, got thousands of views. And I was just spitballing. I was just sharing in an honest and open way. But I learned something. One, Facebook Live is awesome. But I also learned that there is a powerful platform here that maybe I should develop. So then my brain goes back to business. Oh yeah, I got this book and I got 10 authors and I gotta help launch this damn thing. So I decided I'm gonna start with a podcast. Didn't really know what they were. I mean, I listen to Joe Rogan and I enjoy it, but I just started. I did a little bit of Googling and YouTubing and went out, bought myself a microphone and set up a funny little studio in my office. And the first guest that I had, he was used to be a pro wrestler, anybody's ever heard of, but he was a buddy of mine. I thought he'd be interesting, pro wrestler, why not? And the microphone stand for it to work, because I got it secondhand off Kijiji, I used a paint can as a ballast to counterbalance it so the microphone wouldn't go, ooh. But I made it work, and he still laughs about the paint can when I see him. And from there, I just wanted to practice. I wanted to practice with these other people first before I started getting my co-authors on. So I started practicing, and it turns out, son of a bitch, I really like this. I like having these conversations, and I want to get better at this. So it started to grow. and grow. Then I started getting cooler and cooler guests. I mean, they're all cool, but it started turning into something really interesting, and I thought, man, I'm gonna kick this up a notch. And then I became a bit of a sound snob, and I thought, oh yeah, this isn't good enough, this microphone, I need this microphone. And then I started upgrading the gear, and I moved the studio into my house. And then I started getting guests like, anybody ever heard of Man Tracker? People don't play hide and seek anymore, they play Man Tracker. He had 6 seasons, and in the 7th season, the new guy came on and it was dead. But Man Tracker's in my damn living room and we're doing an interview. How cool is that? I know most of you are Oilers fans, so am I, but please forgive me, I had a Calgary Flames in my living room. His name's Theo Fleury. Who knows Theo Fleury? Right? He's 5'6" and an absolute beast on the ice. But had him on the show twice. First was on call-in, and I didn't have the gear yet for the call-in, so I had my phone on speaker and held the phone up to the microphone while I'm doing the podcast, and that's how I did the call-in show on a YouTube Live. But I got it done and I made it work. Then I went out and bought better gear so that I could do it properly. So people like Man Tracker, Theo Fleury, our member of parliament, the leader of the Alberta separatist movement was on last week, and it's just growing. Not a lot of coverage with lights and stuff, but we're getting there. So as this is growing, and I'm getting all these cool people on there, on the other side of things, on the mental health side, things are getting better and better and better and better and better. Still got a long ways to go. But I started to realize the power of all this networking and the cool people that I was meeting, and then I had an idea. There's this veteran peer support group that I attended and eventually became the leader of, and I'm running it now. But the official oversight for it disappeared because the person that was hired for OSIS, Operational Stress Injury Support, burnt out and didn't have a replacement. So veterans were without a peer support network for over 14 months. And I thought, that is not acceptable. So myself and another fella, volunteer, nobody's paying us, we run a couple of different veteran peer support groups because it's one of the pillars of recovery. Then I had the idea, I've got to scale this. It's not just enough for 2 little groups. I've got to do something bigger. I already had this other podcast, so I thought, why not another one? But this time, instead of just being general interest, I'm going to have a mission and a vision. So the mission statement is to provide peer support for veterans. It is to make it accessible and make the path to recovery clear. The mission is to save lives and relieve pain. Now, with a clear mission and vision, other people started jumping on board for Operation Tango Romeo, stands for Trauma Recovery. Went to Fiverr, love Fiverr, Fiverr for anybody that doesn't know it. And I do apologize for any graphic designers in the room, it's so cheap. And when you're on a tight budget, it works. So I went to Fiverr, had another logo made for Operation Tango Romeo, and I launched it. Just today, while I was preparing for this, I got an email from a national network of operational stress support, peer support groups for veterans. And they have been listening to Tango Romeo, little did I know, for the last couple months. And they are now using it as a tool, and they're sharing it nationally. So they're using it for all the peer support facilitators across the country, and they're using it for the content of what to do in the room for the peer support volunteers. So pretty cool. Thank you. That's much better with glasses. So, are you doing it for the likes and the clicks? Or are you doing it for a mission and a vision? Neither are wrong. But it is something to decide. And if you are going to start a podcast or have any sort of social media presence, the more clearly you can define what your mission is. And what a mission is, a friend of mine taught me how to break this down. The mission is, what is wrong with the world, and what am I prepared to do about it? What is wrong with the world, And what am I prepared to do about it? That's your mission. So I wrote it down so I get it exact. So my mission was to save lives and relieve pain. Well, how was I going to do that? By making peer support for PTSD easily accessible. What's my vision? Now the vision is, what is the world like after I've accomplished my mission? So when I get there, what does it look like? And the vision is a world where finding help and support is simple and the path to recovery is clear. When it is clear in your mind, it is clear in the mind of others. When it's clear in the mind of others, they jump on board and say, I'm going to help you with that. So I've been attending conferences for suicide awareness, mental health, peer support. I couldn't believe what a big world this is and how many conferences there are. I've been going to quite a few lately. And as I go and talk to the other like-minded people who are all trying to help first responders and veterans get back to work and get their life back together, they realized, oh my God, what you're doing, we have the same vision, we're just going about it in a different way. So we're helping each other out and getting more and more and more exposure because there's a clear mission and a clear vision. So my suggestion to yourselves, any sort of social media, know what your mission and vision is and make sure everybody else knows it too. Okay, so the only technical part of it, and then I'll be wrapped up. Facebook Live, Instagram Live, wow. To a factor of 20 is what you can expect. Now, that is not an official number, that is from observation. So if you create content and send it to somebody on Fiverr, and they do all kinds of great editing, and you post it, and it looks just like this beautiful professional production, well, that's good, but it's not nearly as powerful as a Facebook Live or a YouTube Live. The live algorithms, for whatever magical reason, live content, those algorithms treat that with priority. They give it a priority factor and has an impact 20 times. Now this is just a mark number, this is not an official number. So you'll have to Googleize that yourselves. But what I have found is that it looks like about 20 times the impact. When I look at every post that I did that was a live post, as opposed to a well-produced post, 20 times the impact. And anybody can do a Facebook Live or a YouTube Live. Once your account is up, you just do it. And I suggest that you do. Be prepared for it, and do it well. Have a right structure for it, and know what you're saying. If you're just on there rambling on, nobody's going to want to watch the first time, much less the second or the third or the fourth time. But if you do it right, you're developing relationships. My phone rings now because of my 2 little podcasts, and they are little. Despite the cool big guests that I've had, I don't have a giant viewership, but I have some kick-ass relationships, which is way more important to me anyway. The rest will come. I'm not measuring it in clicks and likes for that little dopamine hit every time you see a hit. It's like, oh my God, look, it's trending, yay! Yeah, that's cool, but what's my relationship like with that guest? And are they introducing me with other guests so I can build on this platform? It's the relationships. And because of the relationships, yes, I'm doing business, but I got these relationships, and that's the most important thing for me. And I'm getting invites out. I got 3 more speaking gigs over the next 2 months, and I didn't look for any of them. They all came to me because of the podcast shows. So the connections, the relationships, that is the value of it. The one technical thing, there's something called multicasting. Now, it's not cheap, but it's super powerful. Multicasting is a software, and there's a couple of different versions of it that I've not invested in yet, though I really want to, where with one camera, you can go on multiple platforms at exactly the same time. So you can simulcast, is the other name for it, simulcast on YouTube Live, Facebook Live, Instagram is a huge one, and you can do it all at exactly the same time, one feed, one camera, called multicasting or simulcasting. I will invest in it at some point, I will. But that is my bit of technical advice, and that is my time. Thank you so much, everybody. Is there any questions? Since that was a short one, is there any questions about podcasting? Or... Pardon? It's doing well. It's clipping along. It's my second one. My first book I actually wrote for my children when they were actually before they were born. My first wife was pregnant, and I had this horrible feeling of doom, like, oh my God, what if I die before my kids grow up? I'm very morbid. And, but I couldn't shake this feeling. I couldn't shake it. So I decided, geez, you know, what can I do? So I wrote a book called Why Not Me? The Keys to Unlock Your Power and Release Your Potential. And it's the life lessons that I had collected till that point for my children in case I get hit by a bus. And that one's actually done quite well. And the second one, Home Seller's Bible, it's coming along. But it's mostly as a powerful marketing piece. There's a bazillion realtors out there, and everybody is all right up there with used car salesmen. But there's a pretty big difference when you're sitting down with somebody and you say, hey, here's a copy of a book. Now, no matter who you use, whether it's me or somebody else, this will help you. It's 278 pages of important content from 11 industry experts. I don't care who you choose. This is yours. Don't lose thousands of dollars. Here you go. That's a pretty good closing tool. And all you're doing is giving somebody a gift that will really help them. Any other questions? All right, thanks everybody.
Who got their one thing? Yeah. Mark Markey. So who is finding, let's use a big word, incredible value today so far? We're getting what we need? Awesome. We are going to take a quick 5-minute break. This makes stretch, water, pee, because we got our expert panels, and then Ali and I are going to close out the day. That's where we're at right now. We're going to be learning about Snapchat and a bunch of other fun stuff, some of the other platforms, including we have the foremost expert. Who here knows what WeChat is? WeChat is one of the number one platforms for conversing, doing business, and social media platforms in Asia. And we have the foremost expert in Canada in the room today to help educate on it as well. So 5 minutes, come back, settle in your seats, and let's keep rocking it out. Guys, thank you very much. Yeah.
So are they just gonna stand, share the money? What's happening in there? How's the piece gonna work for them?
I was going to stand, but I don't know how to be a jerk and let everybody stand for an hour, but it's probably easier. That way people aren't staring over people's heads.
Chairs is probably best. Is each one of them gonna talk individually?
When it comes to the other stuff, I'm going to make the introductions, talk about some of it, and allow each of them to introduce themselves and why they're sitting up on the panel for the other alternates. And then I'm going to start to get questions about other platforms from the group. And then when we go to the Q&A with the experts after, I'm going to be dragging information out of the crowd and getting the experts to answer.
Okay, so I'm gonna put chairs up there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had one player and the goaltender
What's that? Just a few years. Like,
Not her, the kids.
I was screaming along. I got kicked out once.
Pop on the ball. Did you do it? Because there's always the one ball calls a pop ball.
The one that's banging on glass. Well, you heard Ellie today.
I don't want them to go somewhere else.
Somebody's going home with one of these lucky contestants.
Really?
So,
You're on your own today.
who here thinks today was worth it so far? Woo. There we go. Who's got their one thing? Who's got more? Awesome. Who here knows that they can make a difference in their business by tomorrow? There we go. Okay. We've assembled a fantastic panel up here, but first I wanted to ask a question. You got value, right?
Yes.
Who here made friends? Who here's going to make a difference in their business? Okay. We were having a debate here a little while ago. And originally Ali was going, I don't know if I want to do this. And he goes, yeah, we should do it. And then Barbie Lee turned on us and said, if you don't do it, she's going to beat up both of us. And who wants to see Barbie Lee beat up Ali and I in front of the Raise your hand and say aye. Raise your hand and say aye. Aye. You got to see this is what they're after, and it's live on YouTube. That's a threat. And we've got video recording. She's pretty tough. She's pretty tough, right?
She goes to the gym, eh?
She does go to the gym.
Who's Jim?
Exactly. So before we dive in for more of the peanut gallery over here, I wanted to ask you a question. Who here also feels a little overwhelmed? Right? An awful lot of stuff. You know there's things in here that you can use. But we also know that we're missing stuff. We wanted to make it very, very easy for you guys today to do a handful of things. One, find the experts. And I had feedback earlier on. I'm not going to call the person out. They're sitting in the room and they're sitting kind of over in that direction. No, I'm kidding. And pulled me aside real quick and said, Mitch, can I give you some feedback? Absolutely. I was at a seminar at Digital Lead Generation Conference down in the States. Because I was there for 3 days, and it was thousands of dollars. Yeah, and I'm nodding all the time because no one's going. I'm getting more today than I did there. You're welcome. Right? We wanted to ensure that you have access to the absolute best that we could lay our hands on. Everybody up here we have a relationship with. Whether it's business, professional, or personal. We wanted to make sure you got into this room and you got more value than what you spent. Can everybody agree we got that value? You're more than what you definitely spent? There you go. So I want to make it a little easier for you. I want to make it a little better. Yeah, this is the pitch. Okay? I'll make it painless. Ali's going to talk for a second and then we're going to get these fine people to do it here. Okay? if you found it instructive, informational, and helpful, if you got your one thing, if you know it's going to have an impact, then I implore you to find a little extra help, a little advice, a little suggestion, find somebody you can rely on, find somebody that you can team up with. If you found that one thing and you know you missed an awful lot more, and you know that there's still not enough time or enough for you to go around, you still don't grasp all of it, we're here to help. That's part of our business, right? When you walked in the room, you had to know at some point that I'd put my hand up and say, if you want help, all you gotta do is ask. So the forms we put in front of you guys came back from lunch and you found on your seats, have a quick look. I don't want this to be a light thing or just light reading. It doesn't have to be a today, but I would say to this, we want to have a massive impact on our business and our lives. If you've got massive value here, you want to scoop up as much of it as possible, and you want to be able to keep it for as long as possible. If you're not sure you can hold on for yourself, these forms are for you. Ali?
Alright guys, hope you had fun today, you learned lots. Me and Mitch, well, it's more visible on Mitch than me, but clearly we don't go to the gym, right?
Clearly you don't use the microphone.
Okay, well. See, the conference police is here. We have a conference police, okay.
So very important thing is that when I started my business, right, I basically I did chocolate chip marketing. How many of you guys have heard about chocolate chip marketing? I think Yulia knows that. Okay, this is what I was doing. I show up one day, I update Facebook, I go like this. Then I go and work on my SEO. I watch another video on YouTube, then I go like this. And keep going like this, okay, and I make my marketing a chocolate chip cookie, where the focus is right here. So it's the same thing, right? That if I want a six-pack, and if I actually wanted it, I would have had some help, or I would have reached out for some help, right? So you all showed up today for a particular reason that you wanted to learn, right? If you want to take that to the next step, you want to accelerate that in the next 12 months, right? And you want to basically apply the skills and actually grow with the people who are already doing it and doing it successfully, right? And become part of the tribe, then the form is in front of you. Reach out, right? Okay, become part of the program. It's more or less like a family we have, where we share successes, we basically share each other's struggles. You're on podcasting, well, why it's not working? What can we do? What are you not doing wrong, right? Okay, someone is doing Facebook, right? Okay, how they can grow their business on Facebook, the email marketing, funnels, right? Okay, then so many different things. And Scott said, marketing is having 15 kids around you, and everyone is freaking trying to run, and you're trying to figure it out that when the next one will go away, right? This is how fast it's changing. So if you're looking for fast-paced growth, right, the sheet in front of you will basically define the program in front of you. And now we'll basically jump into to people who is it actually working for, who they're actually applying day in, day out. I mean, Kelly talked about amazing idea of how her book got her story got her this much attention, but not only that, how she turned just a story into pretty much a business by that, right? Okay. Now she's taking to the next level with the cruise. So anyone who is doing it, Raf Pro Plumbing is probably the most followed plumbing account in Edmonton, right, Raf?
For sure.
That's for sure. Raf is pretty confident, right? A good client and friend of mine. So all these people, they're applying something, it's working out for them, right? And we're going to hear their stories, we're going to hear that how they are doing it and why is it working for them. What are they doing, right? What's part of their recipe? What's their secrets, right? They shared some of it, but we're going to try to extract more, because I know that I can get you more value for your bang for the buck today, right? Okay, so let's just let's jump into it. Mitch?
2 pieces of paper. One shows you what needs to change for your business. The other helps you to transact and make a massive impact. You're going to leave here today with an incredible amount of information. Hold on to it, use it, utilize it, grow your business. Leverage the other people in the room. Take your business where it needs to go. But if it doesn't all make sense, it's going to be days, weeks, months, or years from now, and you're still going to be wondering, man, why is this not working? If you want that change in impact, If you know you don't have the time, or it still hasn't settled yet, that's what the second sheet is for. Fill it out, take it to the back of the room before the end of the day, have a talk with Barb or with Sam, and say, you know what, I think I'd like to learn a little more, and I'd like to make a difference in my business. Fill it out, take it back there, and we'll be happy to talk you through how the program works and to be able to help you from there. If you leave here with enough information you can do it yourself, that's why we invested in you in the first place. To make sure you had more than enough information to do this. But if you want the help, that's why you've got that form. Fill it out, go to the back, ask some questions, and get what you need to make a massive impact in your business. Or as the program that I call, Conquer Marketing, Conquer Your Business. Fair?
Yes.
Sound good?
Yes.
Who's got their one thing? Who's got their one thing? Who's having fun?
Oh, yeah.
Ready to have a little more?
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome. Guys, let's do this. We've assembled a wonderful panel to add more value, extra, more life to you today when it comes to this. Because we know that social media is not just Facebook and Instagram, LinkedIn and Twitter. It encompasses more than that. These other platforms have value and reach. We heard about LinkedIn today. 680 million users. Other platforms do that. Who here would like to leverage 2 billion people on this planet? Who'd love to leverage 2 billion people on this planet? We have the foremost WeChat expert in the room here right now. What is WeChat? The primary platform for most of the Chinese community to talk to each other. Who here would like to leverage 1.7 billion people on the planet? Okay? We can do that through WhatsApp, the largest social media and messaging app used in India. Well, Mitch, I don't sell to India, or I don't sell to China. Then I get used to it because that constitutes 4 to 7 people on the planet. Right? And by the way, if you want to do business with Chinese people here, or with Indian people here, then you better learn how to use WeChat and WhatsApp. Make sense? Okay. We have one of the foremost experts here for that. We brought Mark, and you've listened to him talk about the power of story. He's leveraging podcasts. Listen to Kelly talk about Goldcast. This is your opportunity to ask questions right now about some of the things we've missed today, to be able to learn a little more of that information. I'm going to get the rest of the speakers to introduce themselves real quick, give you an idea where they started, and then this is where you guys get to ask. And we're going to spend about the next hour and a half, first of all, asking questions about different platforms, and then we're going to bring the rest of the panel speakers up for the experts, where you can ask anything about what you've learned today or anything that's popped in your head about marketing. Sound fair? Awesome, let's do it. Nick, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Nick, and I'm the owner of the Emmett Explorer, which is the largest. Hi, my name is Nick. And I'm the owner of the Emmett Explorer, which is the largest multicultural marketing and media group in Alberta. And I'm also the director of the marketing and business development of Western Mall. And so we mostly focusing on the Asian market by using WeChat, Weibo, and TikTok, and drive lots of the business from China, and drive lots of the business from local in Edmonton and in Alberta. So we totally have more than 250,000 members that in Chinese in Alberta. And then we do marketing services for lots of the corporations, including the lorry groups, Go Auto Canada, Edmonton International Airport, Western Mall, 555, and even Edmonton Police Service, through the government. And we basically drive lots of the business to them from the Chinese community, from locally, and we create lots of the history. For example, we use 2 weeks, we host a movie event at the Western Mall Cineplex. We brought 1,000 Chinese people to go there to watch a movie, and we got lots of attendants to offer exclusive discount for those people which we never seen those discounts before. And we brought lots of the potential business sponsors in to introduce them to the Chinese people. And you have no idea how powerful those Chinese people's buying powers are. They basically buy everything, but we just need to better educate them how to spend money and how can be better fits your business. Yeah, thank you.
So I'm sure a lot of people might have questions. If they want to reach out, if they have an Asian audience, right, what they serve as a product or a service, so what would you suggest then? How can they reach out to Asian audience?
The first question you need to understand is, do you really need a Chinese consumer to become your client? right? You need to understand why they need to become your client. So what's your value to them? What you have? Because everybody knows that lots of people has money, but not everybody's spending money at the moment because we have a bad economic right now. But to us, because I'm a proud Chinese and a proud Chinese Canadian, so we totally understand the both cultures. So for example, when Chinese people landed in Canada, the first vehicle they're gonna buy is BMW, Mercedes, Porsche. And in Alberta, they are all my clients. Like both Mercedes, both BMW, both Lexus in Edmonton, they're all our clients. So we drive those business, those Chinese sales. And those Chinese sales has been the top sales for many years already. So you need to understand your product first. And then we need to find the best platforms to be able to having conversation with them, which is the WeChat. Basically, every single Chinese people existing in the world, they have a WeChat. For us, we don't really use text message. We don't call people. We only use WeChat. And WeChat is very super powerful apps. If you read the news about Facebook, about Twitter, they already announced WeChat is their top competitors in the world for many years already. So WeChat has moments, which is like community. You can share everything inside, and we have a news feed, which is an official WeChat account, so people can subscribe and become our followers. So we are able to publish English and Chinese information directly to them. And WeChat has a WeChat Pay, which means you can remotely receive Chinese dollars from China to Canada, and it becomes Canadian dollars. And based on the exchange rate right now, basically the exchange rate is offering their discount already. And that's why Canada Goose, that's why Tiffany, that's why Louis Vuitton, they all have WeChat Pay, which means, for example, today the exchange rate is 1 versus 5, and tomorrow could be 1 versus 4.5, which means they got a discount from us already. We don't need to offer anything. So the first question you need to understand is your value to the Chinese people, and that they really need your product. The second one is having the WeChat, so you can get them to follow you, to have conversation with them.
Awesome, thank you. And I know that there is actually live chat platforms on the website. People can directly message you on WhatsApp and a WeChat too. So live chat on the website is not just driven by live chat as in messaging, and now it has a WeChat and a WhatsApp built in too. So that's pretty much the power of WhatsApp and a WeChat. And we know that in Alberta, we have a growing population of immigrants, especially like Chinese and Indian origin immigrants, right? They are basically becoming a major buying power here. So these are the platforms that you can leverage in order to basically grow your business.
Kelly, we've heard from Kelly today already. Questions or comments about her? What it takes to leverage a book? What it takes to leverage a Goldcast? Who here would like their own TV show? There has to be a few such hands. Kamal does, Scott does, Danny does. Nobody else wants their own TV show? You're all lying. Everybody else Ellie's got it. Everybody else is lying. Everybody grew up going,
like you're in the TV show, or you want to produce a TV show?
There you go. What did it take to actually produce for you?
What did it take?
What did it take?
$500,000. Well, basically what I did is I took my book proposal and went to their broadcaster that I had a relationship with from a different documentary that I had on TV. And so AMI is called Accessible Media Incorporated. And they believe that everybody should have access to TV, whether you're blind, deaf, whatever. And so they loved my story. And so it actually took 2 years of planning. So, I had to pitch it to them and give them why we should do it. I had to do some research about why my story was, who it was going to impact. And then they actually hired a production company out of Toronto to actually put it together and do the proposal and get the funding. The beautiful thing was, it didn't cost me a dime. So, in fact, I actually got paid. So I love that part about it, is that, now I have this really powerful marketing tool, that I'm able to leverage to get me other speaking gigs. It has increased my fee, almost double. And, people now, when they want to introduce me, they don't just say Kelly Filardo, TEDx talker, best-selling author. They now introduce me as TEDx talker, Kelly Flordo, best-selling author, 5 times. Like, and they always emphasize the 5 times. And, also has a documentary about her life story. So it's incredible credibility builders.
Gordon?
Kelly, I just had a question, because you mentioned how powerful your Facebook, you mentioned a number of interactions on Facebook. When did you first get on Facebook, and how long did it get to the point, how did it build for you over what amount of time that you then could get these very powerful interactions?
So I think I started Facebook 11 years ago. So I don't think it was right in the very beginning, but pretty close. And, it's just been an ongoing thing. It's still building. And there's times when I find that I'm doing really, really well, and then I find where it's a little bit of a drop-off, where people are not engaging with me as much. But what I find is just like one of the presenters said, always ask questions. And so I'll put up a little post about, this is something that happened to me. What are your thoughts? And then all of a sudden people will be commenting. And what I do is I always try and comment back. Because when you comment back, that puts you back up into the news feed, and then more people see it. And that gets the conversation flowing.
Hi.
Hi.
Nice to meet you. And it's very impressive your history. Thank you for sharing with us. And I had a question for you. Like when you create this awesome video that somebody produced for you, and your first share was like a fan page, or was your personal profile? When you when you did the video, right? And then you share in Facebook, and then you share in Facebook and your personal profile, or you create a page and you post it there?
On my books?
No, the video you create.
On the media?
The video.
The video? Personal. I do everything on my personal. I have some business pages, but they're not as active. And so I do everything on my personal page. I do have some groups, so like I have a special author group, and that's for my clients. And then I have a free author group, and that's another group that I'm building up now. But I usually do everything on my personal, because that's where they really get to be authentic with you. My rule is that I don't put anything on Facebook that I don't want everybody to know. Okay, because some people are like, oh, I gotta keep my personal stuff really personal and private. Well, I'm gonna really be honest with you. There was a time when my mom lived in Yuma and I was here, and she would get so upset with me because I wouldn't call her much. And she was, well, at least I can go to Facebook and find out what you're up to. Right? So, yeah. So I do everything on my personal page. It's just where I have most of my interaction.
Yeah, because you was talking about 9 million views and
So,
the video.
so what happened is Goldcast, they are a marketing company, media company, and what they do is they have 10 million followers. So they put it up on their Facebook, and then people were just going wild. In fact, we had, in 6 hours, we had 1 million views of that Goldcast video. So people just started spreading it, and there was like not one single bad comment or anything. In fact, the only bad comment that I found that I laughed about was someone said, you know what, you need some plastic surgery, I'll pay for it for you. And I'm like I've had so many plastic surgeries, like I don't need that, but anyways, but yeah. So they pushed it out, and in fact, they actually launched it 2 more times. So it's been launched like 3 times.
So, and you, sorry for asking, but you get paid for it, right?
No, it was free.
It's free. The Goldcast offers your story for free if it's a compelling story, and if it serves their audience. Like her Kelly's story was really amazing, and they knew that if they share it further, right, that will help them. So that's why they basically exposed.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think in the first place, Kelly reached out to them. That's the important part, right? See, collaboration, we don't do it. I don't know why we don't do it. You are a realtor, you're a mortgage guy, you're a finance guy. Why the hell are you not collaborating? Why are you not like giving each other shout outs? Why are you not like sharing each other's content? Like Kelly's talking about it on a macro level here. I'm talking about collaboration like even like around you, right? Today, you met so many people, right? Okay, you LinkedIn, you made connections with them, right? Okay. So collaboration is technically it's collaboration. collaborative effort which basically put them in front of like you.
And so what I also did on the Goalcast is because we had like, I don't know, it was like 5,000 comments. No, it was more than that. It was 75,000 shares and something like 5,000 comments. And so me and my daughter were actually going and commenting on other people's comments. And so even this last time when they launched it, I went on everybody's comment and everybody that shared it. I thanked them for commenting and sharing, and then I invited them to join my free author group. So that's what I did, because I wanted to keep it going, right? I want to keep this 10 million, I want to go to like 20 million. So I want to keep it going, so I am keeping, commenting to keep it going.
This is basically like, newsfeed hacking, right? Because what you're doing is you're trying to make that content relevant again, right? Like, because if you keep commenting, it keeps bumping up and up and again. So it's kind of that machine you are making it work, and it's giving you dividends and dividends and dividends, right? Okay.
Also, people feel really special when you comment on them, on their stuff. So if people comment to you and you comment back, they're like, oh my God, she's paying attention to me. And people love that. And then they want to comment again.
I think God asked that, like, how long did it took Kelly to gain traction? A lot of the times what we do is
we don't pay attention to, what's the police? Okay. We don't pay attention to actually one or two people who are actually commenting, liking, interacting with us. We say like, well, that's not a significant thing. I'm not getting 50 comments, I'm not getting 100 comments. Well, the engagement starts here, sir. I'm not sure why we are so afraid of this number. So it's okay if one person likes it and comments it, engage with them, because that's how you nurture the tribe. Thank you, Kelly. Mitch.
Of course, you guys have heard Mark talk. He's got his big push coming now, of course, through books and with podcasts. Questions, comments about podcasting, getting started? Who's thought about it? Anybody? Really, only 5 hands? 6 hands? 7 hands? Okay, we've got a few. Questions? Thoughts?
Even technical questions. I've done a buttload of research, and I can tell you what gear to use so that you don't do it. If you don't do it right the first time, it costs you a hell of a lot more money because you keep replacing all your stuff. Oh yeah. Good.
Oh, sure. The floor, please.
Sir Lawrence was first.
What's your idea when it comes to just storytelling in general? Like for people who don't really have extravagant lifestyles, or people who just have lived very ordinary lives, how do you create a good story?
That is a phenomenal question. I'm so glad that you asked it because I've been pondering this here. One of the messages that I want to share with everybody is that whether you think you do or don't, I can guarantee I can sit down with anybody in this room, and you have one hell of a story. You do. I guarantee it. The question is, do you have the guts to tell it? When Kelly was up before me, I actually changed my speaking presentation based on what she said. I wasn't going to tell you about the great financial collapse of me. I wasn't going to include that. I wasn't consciously excluding that. It wasn't where I wanted to go. Then I thought, shit, she's right. She's right. I can't skip that part of the story. It's important. And the more honest you are and vulnerable, that's when you connect with other human beings. I had a couple of people that were kind enough to come up to me just after this little speaking bit and say, you told my story. I was just at a peer support and resiliency conference in Canmore, and there's always that one speaker that connects with you. And I'm like, oh my God, we have the same story, only she's taller and not a guy. But it's the same story. So the more guts that you have to, because I guarantee you have one, Lawrence. Every single person in this room has gone through some struggle, and your struggle and overcoming it and coming out the other side is an inspiration to somebody somewhere. Guaranteed. But do you have the guts to share it? Does that answer your question?
I think if you look at the examples of vlogs, why do we watch vlogs? Video logs.
Why do we watch that? What the hell do you have to do with someone's daily shit, like they're eating, they're talking to their pet? You watch it, right?
I think you are the only one.
So They're very famous on YouTube, and there's a reason. The reason is that, see, consumption of the content, if I have watched that, I'm sure you have consumed a cat video or a dog video, right? We all consume our kind of content, but the idea is that our story might be boring to us, but when we share the gift with other people, that's when we realize it, that how, like I'm sure when Kelly shared it, that how many lives it changed, right? And it created an impact. I don't think so she might even had an idea before it was even out. So I think if it's inside it, you might not pay a lot of attention, you might not give a lot of importance to it, but when it actually comes out, and vulnerability is the tool of engagement and virality. People say crying. People love crying videos because you're just being honest, you're just open to people, right? So being vulnerable actually helps, right? And I would second that you should share your story because you are the unique, you are you, right? No one could be Lawrence, right? Okay.
There's another way to go as well. If you don't have to bare your soul to build an audience. The most viewed topic on YouTube is how-to. People have built houses and fixed their cars and whatever you can think of through how. So what is your expertise? We're all good at something. I would hope so. But everybody is good at something, whatever you're passionate about, and it doesn't have to be directly related to your business. It's better if it is, way better if it is, because then you're the industry expert. But even if it's not, pick a topic on how-to, and write down on a list how to this, how to that, and break it into segments, and just start doing little Facebook or YouTube lives. Better on YouTube, but it's tougher to. Here's the thing. Facebook, it's easier to get an immediate audience. It's tougher on YouTube, but if you hit the right how-to on YouTube, it will go to people that you don't know exist, that you're not connected to. It's a huge, huge search engine. So pick your how-tos. What are you good at? Break it down and Court.
The comment about the guy who's already done it, speaking to the person who's asking to do it. I just mean to point back into your story and tell me if I'm wrong. You didn't know to be vulnerable until you did a podcast episode that started you on the journey to know to become vulnerable. So the step, the mechanical step, is actually to get your phone out and actually do it. And I think I've taken that away from many of the speakers today, that just do something.
And that's the tough part for it.
So I just mean to point that gap out between, it's one thing to say be vulnerable, which can be intimidating, but I think even in your story, the origin story there, it didn't start at be vulnerable, it started at I picked up the mic and then I got going, and that's how it got kind of moved forward. I just mean to feed that back.
No, thank you, Gordon, that's perfect. And because it's true, that people wait until, because they don't have enough things to do. I also represent Dana Meisey. Dana Meisey is the world record hiker. He actually lives in Sherwood Park, and he's got 4 world records for hiking. He's the only man alive that has ever done the entire Trans-Canada Trail from coast to coast to coast, 21,000 kilometers in 10 years, unbelievable. But anywho, Dana is a perfectionist, and that is the enemy. He's got all this great, amazing content, these unbelievable stories, but because of some self-esteem issues, which is always the case, by the way, you're not a perfectionist, you have self-esteem issues. So the only way to overcome it is to be courageous. That's it. Oh no, I'm a perfectionist. Nope, you're lacking a little bit of courage. And it's just the truth. Better done than perfect. Better done than perfect. I mean, do a good job. Don't just full on wing it like I can do from time to time. But it's better done than perfect. Take that first step, just like Gord said, absolutely. And Kelly was saying the same thing in her presentation. Find the courage and just ready, fire, aim. Figure it out later. And then once that momentum gets going, you can start to adjust and tune it and make it better and better and better.
We brought you here for a reason, brother.
Okay, I am the manager of Pro Plumbing and Heating, only because my father owns a company. And I have been there for 8 years. I was in radio and TV. I went to NAIT, and then I got my dream job at 630 Ched. And my father needed help at his company, and I helped him. because he only has one child. So I got into pro plumbing, not knowing anything about plumbing, and thought, what could I bring to help the company grow? And from radio and TV, they were on social media. It was 8 years ago, and they had just started it. And I thought, something for free, and get on Twitter and see what Pro Plumbing could do. Pro Plumbing is a plumbing company. How are we going to get anybody to follow us? So Raphael liked lots of Edmonton companies and kept it local and grew it to 12,600 today, but it took 8 years. We got behind that. Then the next one was Instagram. We got on that early and liked a lot of Edmonton companies, and then started to think that liking wasn't going to get you anywhere, and you have to comment on the pictures, but you have to care about the people you're commenting about. So a lot of people will post pictures of cats and dogs, but you need to look at the picture and just be personal from a company standpoint and say, that's a wonderful dog. And then you get better at it. And get better and say, oh wow, is that a cat in the sink? And then you take that picture and you put it on your Instagram feed. And you just listen to everyone on social media. If you watch social media on YAG hashtag, you can know what's going on in the city without any news story of CTV or Global, or what is the new restaurant. So that's what we try to do at Pro Plumbing. We love Edmonton. We love, First Family. Sorry, Dad. First Family, then Edmonton, the Oilers, and Edmonton companies, and that's how we've grown. We have 10,000 on Instagram, 12,000 on Twitter, and 12,000 on LinkedIn. And the best thing about it is you find about the local people, and people have the same struggle as you. Plumbing is hard. There's a lot of competition. There's only a certain amount of money for that pie. And we thought by 8 years ago that if we went after the young generation who is going on social media, long term, even 10 years from now, it'll pay off. We have 70% of our followers who are 25 to 35. Now, they're not calling now because they don't own a home, because I'm 34 and I just bought one. So, but at 44, things are gonna leak, and Pro Plumbing better be brainwashed. No, I just kidding. Pro Plumbing should be top of mind, and we get those comments, and we need to be quick. That's the other thing. You always have to change, and you always have to, someone sends you a message, you need to send it right away. Someone sends you an email, and that's what we try to do. And we've gone better over the years. We get a lot more calls from social media. I do get people stopping me at lights, rolling down the window, asking if I am Raphael from Pro Plumbing. So that's pretty funny. But we are a family-based company. We love Edmonton. We try to show that every day. And yes, the company has gone a little bit slower this year. We've talked to other plumbing companies. We have a good rapport with them. They're really down. And they ask what they should do. So I tell them, social media. But you can't just put a picture of a toilet, I told them. We did that for 2 to 3 years. We just put toilet, hot water tank, bathtub, etc. The moment, you test, and the moment you figure out that that's not gonna get it. You're pushing too much. It's too many toilets. Now, how do I know this? Because on the first date with my wife, she said, "You're Pro Plumbing behind it?" I said, "Yes." "Yeah, I followed you, but you put too many pictures of toilets." So I took my feedback and I changed it. And so we post a little bit of plumbing, but mostly is local. And of course the Oilers are on fire. And we just continue that. I've met so many wonderful people in the Edmonton community, and they tell you they're struggling. A new restaurant, they're not on social media. I said, yeah, you have to go on social media. You guys at 12 and 6 o'clock post on food, the new thing on the menu or the chef's special. People won't know where you are, but they, you know, they try to put it, and then it goes to the next thing, and then all of a sudden people see the picture of something they love or a dessert, and it fires off. So if that I can leave you is put your own personal pictures on the company, just so they know who's behind the brand. And it will be beneficial in the long term. Like I said, we went down a little bit this year, but we lost Sears a couple years ago, which was about 30% of the business. And now, 4 years later, we're still the same, and we lost Sears, so social media has worked for Pro Plumbing.
Any questions from Ralph?
I do have a question for Ralph, or not a question maybe, Ralph, but a justification for what you're saying. We've never met, but I was your competitor for 8 years. I actually just exited a plumbing and heating company here in town. And during our busy season, because of your LinkedIn profile and what I was following on it, if we had calls that we couldn't do, the front staff would say, who do we send it to? I'm like, send it to Ralph, tell him the phone there. So, and it was only because I knew what you were valuing. And so what you're saying up there absolutely nailed it.
You just have to be honest.
That's it.
And
That's
competition's competition, and that's what we try to get across, and thank you so much for that.
Yeah, the people were going somewhere. I was helping them choose somebody that I knew I followed and liked. So kudos, it worked.
Thank you. That's the thing, that we might get I would say 1 or 2 calls a day from social media, because you don't need a plumber every single day, right? But 2 years from now, there was just like the flood in March. Global had phoned us because we had commented on Jen Crosby's picture when she was sick and how she was feeling. And that's just showing, just comment, just care. And I didn't before. Sorry, we didn't. The company didn't. You're just liking. It's not going to go anywhere. Just care. Oh, you're sick? How are you feeling? And that's the example I can give.
And guys, this is an example of a plumbing company. I'm sure a lot of the businesses you are doing, they're a little bit more interested. If Ralph can do it, I'm sure all of us can do it, right? Yuli?
In terms of commenting, yeah, I know you comment on lots of different profiles, and like from my perspective, I know it's maybe a wrong approach, but I comment on those that I can kind of met or personally know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't comment on like public figures because, well, they're public figures. They kind of, you assume they know them, you know them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So where do you find that, I don't know, boundary or comment on everyone's profile just to be nice or like?
Not on everyone's, but the hashtag gag on any of the platforms is huge. And Edmonton has a wonderful social media. And the pictures of Edmonton, we have to be positive. It's the best city in the world. So I love Edmonton, or we love Edmonton, whatever your company is. Yes, the big figures, everyone comments, right? Say the Oilers won last night, they had 20,000 comments. But there's someone who has 17 followers, put hashtag YAG, and you say, what a wonderful picture of the morning sky. She's been following us for 3 years. And I can do that. I can remember some of them. And then you see them at certain events, and that's how you start trust behind the company too. So.
It's not a question. I just want to say I love your Easter story.
Thank
I love
you.
so much for nice.
Okay, thank you. Now we have a little man, so he's really getting a lot of followers. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry.
I have a question. How many hours do you spend on social media every day?
But before it was 8 hours a day, and answering the calls,
Okay.
but that was, you were building it, right? Now between 2 and 3 hours, I know how to do it better, right? You can press like for 4 hours, you're not getting anywhere. You're not getting the fulfillment from the other people that are on that platform, but the comments for 2 hours, or say 15 minutes or 20 minutes, then you get it, right? You're commenting wow, what a piece of pizza. Where do I get that? Where is it? Some people, they post it, you don't know where it is. So you just ask politely, and people are always willing to tell you. The example is Jack's Burger in St. Albert. I'd never heard of such, I didn't know where it was. So I just asked, and someone had said it's in St. Albert. I went with my wife, and now we're going every week, so.
I think it's,
But if, for example, I'm alone, I'm a photographer, I'm alone, I'm working, I am editing pictures, I don't have time for social media. I'm posting, but I don't have time to comment. What you can suggest to do one or two things every day? Extra, not just posting, but.
To do extra?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to comment. You just post, you have to. So 15 minutes. So just do it in the morning or before you go to bed. You're on there on Instagram anyway, right? You're looking at everybody else. So just posting pictures. Yeah, you just gotta make time. Just get up 15 minutes before and just comment. And then you'll see that people will come back to you. Because they'll see, oh, I don't know your Instagram, but whatever it is. And people say, oh, what did she say? Or who's the person behind that company? And then they come to your Instagram and they go, oh, those are awesome pictures. Then they like you, and then it continues.
it's like, it's a numbers game. You comment on 10 pictures a day, how many does it take in 10 days? 100? What does it make in a month? 300? And what does it make in a year? Almost like 3,000 plus comments. So this is basically like what you're doing is this is a scale game, because when you do that, it's like a massive momentum. Out of 3,000 comments, like let's say Raf's team left, now 10% or 15% are engaging. The next time they're leaving because they got better at commenting, right? What kind of pizza slice it is. Now the conversion ratio goes up. So it's engagement is like a muscle. It's like it's going to the gym. The first time you go, you're like, man, this hurts because we haven't made it work. The more we make it work, the more it actually gains momentum. But Raf is an amazing example of a business which is not that exciting, right? But have been able to get attention in a busy world on Instagram where you have other 10 things to do, right? Raf is getting an attention. That's why I have a lot of respect and for him, and that's why we have Raf today, right? To share his
Exciting when your pipes burst.
Not too cold.
Now, if I could jump on top of that real quick while I introduce Nish and why you're going to here. We've heard from the accountant. Hello, go ahead and wave. We've heard from the accountant today. We've heard from the plumber. And now we're hearing from the person that leveraged social media for a town.
For what?
What?
How little interest do you think a municipality gets in their social media?
I'm sorry, we didn't hear what you said.
How little interest do you think a municipality gets in its social media? Probably less than an accountant and a plumber, right? Nish?
Hi everyone, I'm Nish. And I was the token brown guy that grew up in Olds, Alberta.
That's the joke of the day.
And, when I graduated university in 2015, I came back to Olds where I grew up. My parents, they moved from South Africa to Olds, Alberta. And you're probably wondering why they did that. I'm still trying to figure out that myself. And yeah, so I came back from school, and at that time, social media is what I consider its peak. If you're not on social media by 2019, you got to figure something out. When I say in 2015, I wasn't sure what I was doing. I was like most young people trying to figure out my life. I was going through girlfriends, bars, and you name it. And what I did was, and you said it there, was I just did something. So I chose Facebook blogging. And I borrowed my sister's camera. I was unemployed, business guy, and I started taking pictures of people. And I started writing their stories. And like you guys have heard many times in the room, we can all relate to one another. So I started with the local nurse and went into the hospital, I think it was 9 p.m. at night, and went to high school with her and said, hey, can I take your picture? And from there, I posted it. And it was like 3 lines long. And overnight, over 100 people liked it. So I was like, uh-oh, I started something. And I didn't tell anybody what I was doing. I just kind of told the people I was interviewing to not say anything and let's just see what can happen. And like he said, you have to have a mission. And my mission during 2016 was to figure out how I could connect our community through the recession. It was tough times. Olds is not dependent on oil and gas, but we have a diverse economy of farmers, the Olds College, different industries. But there was one underlying thing. We were all neighbors, and I felt like we could relate to one another. So I found people, like I said, a nurse. I found an Olympian. I went on the streets and found a homeless person. And unfortunately, 2 of the people on the blog actually passed away. I spoke at one funeral. And the amazing thing about that was that in 3 months, the blog went from a small town to over 1 million impressions. And all of a sudden, the town of Olds was creating a little buzz. And it was aired on CBC, it was aired on Global, and now the town of Olds is calling me to figure out how we can create tourism and attraction. So I was hired on to work for the municipal to do tourism and attraction for the economic and development arm of Olds. What I learned with small towns is if you're not doing anything, then how do you expect to be heard? But I think that can relate to everyone today. If you're not doing anything, then how do you expect to grow? And vulnerable, I've heard some great words, being vulnerable, being able to relate, putting yourself out there, starting. I think that's all I think we're all in this room for that reason, is we're trying to figure out how we can grow, transform, look deep inside and share valuable content with the world. So what happened was when I got hired on with the town of Olds, I was able to essentially create a marketing program because the town of Olds didn't even have a video. Didn't have a video of what was going on in the town. So I called in a drone videographer, I created a storyline, I found all the partners in the community, the Chamber of Commerce, the founding members of the college, and we did a welcoming video, why people should live in Olds. And the question was, what does community mean to you? And from there, we had 14,000 views, and we created a campaign, and we used that video, and we used it for business visitation. So if people wanted to create a business or move to Olds, we had little segments that we'd send out. So there's a tip for you guys: when you have one bigger video, you can cut it down into smaller videos to use as content. From there, we created the hashtag #MyOlds, and as many of you have done, you create a community. So when you use the hashtag, you all follow that hashtag, and you create a community. It was called #MyOlds, and now the business community was connected, the high school, the sports teams, the seniors, basically everyone in Olds was finally connected to each other by hashtag #MyOlds. From there, I was recruited to do B2B marketing for an oil and gas company in Leduc. They're called Tomco Group of Companies. And we have 8 locations, and we have 150 employees all across Canada. And right now, the tools that I use, because I'm the marketing person, for a website I use a WordPress builder called Divi Builder. If you guys write that down, it will show you how to build an easy website with just no design or web experience. That will help you build a website.
How do you spell it? Can you say it again?
It's called Divi, D-I-V-I.
Try Elementor. Try Elementor Pro.
Yeah.
Elementor Pro.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's how I build our website. I get our analytics through Google Analytics. What Google Analytics will allow you to do is track your conversions. I use Google Search Console, Google Search Console will help you understand what keywords people are looking for and how they're finding your website. I use Adobe to do design. I know some people don't have that technical experience, so Canva might work for you guys. And the other note that I can leave you off of is just start. What do you have to lose? It's intimidating to be vulnerable, but at the end of the day, if your business is that much further, wouldn't you just start?
So what I'd like to do real quick, I'm gonna start with Nish, we're gonna work our way back down to Nick at the end. Right now, and we were talking about other platforms and why we haven't isolated them and said Snapchat or this or that or the other. Are you sensing a common theme? Here's your tool. Start with it. And be what? I love the way you're thinking. Be you. Right? Nish, one thing you suggest right now about everything else to start. To get started right now, what would you suggest? What's the one thing you should do? What's the one piece of advice or one idea?
Do a SWOT analysis about yourself. Yeah.
Strengths,
Weakness, opportunities, and threat. Right now in B2B marketing, we have a lot of competitors coming into our space. We're against billion-dollar companies. We have probably 40 companies we go against worldwide and in Canada. And if we don't know who we are, where we're going, and what we're doing right now, then there's no content calendar or design or copywriting, videographer can help you get that much further. Right now, where you are, you need to learn about yourself, where you want to go, who's going to help you, who you're going to surround yourself with, and set an action plan, because I was unemployed and I grabbed my sister's camera. My vision was to connect my community, and I went from being unemployed to working for a municipal, and now I'm director of a marketing program. So you never know where you could go, you just have to figure out where you are and where you want to go.
My piece of advice is to post a picture of yourself on one of your social media platforms and put the top 5 things that you love.
First is authenticity. It's the world's hardest thing to do because we have this little thing called an ego, and we want to be the biggest and the best, and we want to be somebody. Does anybody know the #1 human emotional need? Attention, affirmation. It's that little attaboy or good job. And that's why there's so many, most of us are addicted to our phones, let's just admit it. Hi, I'm a phone addict. It's because the dopamine hits. You're getting those dopamine hits because with all the likes and whatnot, because that's affirmation. It's a very poor form of it, but that's what it is. And that is the barrier to being truly authentic, is having that need for those dopamine hits. And people will do anything. A good friend of mine, I just had a little visit with her in British Columbia. We had an interesting chat, and I finally was able to tell her the truth. I said, quit showing your boobs to everybody. They're fantastic, they're wonderful, but not everybody's got to see your boobs. And she's like, oh my God, I just figured that out like 3 weeks ago. She's this yoga instructor, and holy crap, is she built. And she's constantly pictures of her and her amazing form. But finally, a friend finally had that conversation with her. It's like, what is the message that you're giving? What is it here? And what do you think people are thinking? Not that you should necessarily care what other people are thinking, but what's the message that you want to give? Because she wasn't being authentic. It was all about the image. All about the image. And so she had figured that out before I was able to finally have that come to Jesus talk with her. But be authentic. And the barrier to authenticity is ego. It's not easy to get over it, but that's my one thing.
My one thing is just to ask. So ask yourself, what do you want? What do you want to achieve with your social media? Where do you want to go with your goals, with your business? And then ask people for help. So, you know, when I wanted that documentary, I never would have got that documentary if I didn't ask the broadcaster, do you want to see my book proposal? I never would have had that, right? Ask people for help, ask mentors. People love being asked to mentor people. People love it. You know, you come up and you go and you ask Mitch or me or any of the people up here and say, hey, I'd really love for you to mentor me. We're like, yes, that means we're doing something right. And we love that. So ask for help, no matter what. Ask on Facebook. Even today, I was stuck because I need to go to Grand Prairie, and from Grand Prairie, I got to go to Spirit River. I put it on Facebook. Does anybody live in Grand Prairie? Right? And I got a bunch of responses. So don't be scared to ask.
My advice will be always share with people of everything that you have, because I consider everybody is the marketing resources. You guys have lots of the value to the community, to the world, to people around you. We are not just everything about social media. The more you share, the more you tell people, the more benefits, the more value you can create for everybody and for yourself as well. Thank you.
People go. Danny, Scott, Aaron, get your butts up here. We're going to take, with everybody that we've had with us today, we're going to take another 10 minutes for questions, where we have everybody available right now. Anything that's popped up since then, anything that's popped up now. We have everybody available for questions right now, and then Ali and I are going to close out the day. Sound fair? Awesome. Well, we've got everybody up here. First of all, who loved Aaron opening of the day? We thought Danny and Scott brought great value to Facebook and Instagram. Who thinks Ali knows the stuff when it comes to LinkedIn? Kelly and Mark, the power of story between the two of them. What did you think? And coming in last minute to help us out, Nick, Raph, and Nish, being able to share a little more and to be able to really make that impact. Thoughts? Good. Let's hit them. They're smart. They're supposed to know their stuff, so go after it. Let's keep the blows above the belt, though, okay? No personal questions, except for those people that keep talking about themselves. Mark. Yep, go ahead.
Has anybody actually tried multicasting?
We're going to have to make you stand up where the crowd police is going to start yelling at you.
Okay. Have any of you guys actually done multicasting? If so, which platform do you use?
I use OBS, and there's a platform within OBS called MobCrush, and it's totally free. OBS is the #1 broadcasting.
Yeah, I use OBS, but you can only go in one stream.
You gotta use an app called MobCrush.
MobCrush?
Yeah,
Okay,
MobCrush.
perfect.
It's basically like we're gamers using it.
Yeah, and like,
Okay.
it's the easiest way to get
Don't talk to each other. Take the microphone and talk to us.
One of the easiest ways to like watch other people that are doing things online is watching gamers through YouTube or Twitch. They're actually owning the entire market right now. There's this thing called the Super Bowl that I'm sure everybody's aware of, right? Football. There's this thing called League of Legends. It's a video game. The quarterfinal of League of Legends did more viewership than the Super Bowl by 2.5 times. So they're leading the way in the technology and industry for these types of things. And the program's called MobCrush through OBS.
Mark, you have a thought? Oh, okay.
I wanted to know too, thanks. I don't know the name, I just know that it's done, because I know you could do it, but it was, the price tag was too big, so I said no.
So OBS is the free one. Yeah. Because it's free, it is slightly complicated. For some people, it can be slightly complicated. XSplit is another one. It is paid, so it will cost more. However, it's a little bit more plug and play.
On the how-to of YouTube, there's probably how-tos on how to use all of these programs.
Yes.
as the woman standing between the men here, sorry.
There is, but it's a lot of baloney. There's a mix of people saying that they can do it, but then you have to backdoor it, and then they don't tell you how much processing power you may need, and
Just watch the industry at the end of the day, because these new programs just keep popping up. Like OBS itself as an individual was a main factor, and then in January they released what's called OBS Dashboard, which just streamlined a ton of the stuff that was like super complicated before. And I'm sure in 3 months there'll be another program that comes out that is probably bigger and better.
Right. Thank you.
I will just add one last one. It's called Boxcast.
Boxcast?
Boxcast.
How do you use WhatsApp for the business?
I think WhatsApp would be more for. WhatsApp would be to bring a community in and keep them engaged. So you would regularly update your WhatsApp group. I know for like our global manufacturers, they use it to either do internal updates, where you can do your promotions through there. It'd be similar to using a Facebook group.
Like another example would be that you create a WhatsApp group, you share it on all the other social media channels, and you say, okay, weekly I'll be sharing my specials in that WhatsApp group. And then people can join that. You can also create WhatsApp for business now, right? And that gives you much more capability and basically like, to do things. But at the basic, because WhatsApp is so easier, and I know that it's probably one of the fastest growing messaging platforms out there, it's really good to create a community. What Mitch said, that this is a weekly blog or weekly financial tips I put out in my WhatsApp group, would you like to join? And then you share it to basically like, in your tribe.
So I've heard a lot about advice for salespeople. What advice would you have for someone who's in a nonprofit and is looking for donors or donations as opposed to sales?
That is sales.
Yeah. He's right, it is sales. I run She Hustle Collective. It's a female entrepreneur resource group, and we're actually launching our nonprofit, which will become a charity in a year. And actually pretty much everything everybody said, authenticity and asking for it. It's really frowned upon for some reason to ask people for what you want. If you are proud of what you do and you have a good cause for people to support, the accountant in me will tell you to tell them it's a write-off on their taxes. But just ask. Just ask. Put it out there. Who you are, what you do. If you're creating videos and you're creating pictures and you're sharing information about something that you're proud of, you'd be surprised how many people, it takes, $1 million $20 donations, but hey, every single $20 donation is a donation, right? I have, people that'll partner up with other businesses and say, hey, I'm gonna do a donation match, right, as a nonprofit. This year, my accounting firm is partnering with Santa's Anonymous again, and we're doing a fundraiser to raise toys and money for Santa's Anonymous, and my offer always from my accounting firm is I will match whatever donations that you donate, because it's important to me that the word gets out that they do amazing work, in their niche for what they do. So looking for stuff like that and finding people that are like, hey, I'm all about nonprofits, I'm all about good causes. There's a ton of people out there that advocate. So.
Get your tribe involved. That's one of the biggest things that I suggest too. And even like with my kids, people say, how do you balance your kids and your work life and personal life and all that? And so my answer was, I got my kids involved. And even like with my charity, with my Blankets for Burn Kids, when we had that big Fort McMurray fire, so me and my kids, I went to an event and I spoke, and I got people to donate money to buy blankets. And then we went up to where the evacuees were, and we gave blankets out. And then we stopped somewhere, and then we found out that the firefighters were sleeping on the ground. And so the firefighters asked us, well, what have you got to donate? And I said, well, I've got 125 blankets. And so we gave them to the firefighters. And so, I got my kids involved in that, and like we took pictures, we put it up on social media, we did Facebook Live videos. And people are like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited I get to watch your video. Like even when we jumped for our skydiving thing, same thing. People were like, oh my God, that is so cool that we get to watch it, even though we can't totally participate. So just get everybody involved. They want to be involved. Do videos, even if you hate them, Like, I hate videos. Like, I know I look confident on stage, but if you put the camera in front of me, I hate it. But I force myself to do it because I know it's the only way I'm gonna grow my business.
There's a great technical part of the question that I'm gonna cover you here in a moment. Mark, what's the difference in selling between profit and non-profit?
There isn't.
Exactly.
I mean, nonprofit might be a bit tougher. It's an incredibly competitive space. On the Mikey Show podcast, one of the things I do is I give a big voice to those that don't have one. So I have local charities on all the time. I also, because I'm a veteran, there's a Calgary Veterans Association food bank in Calgary, and I would give a voice to people that are otherwise homeless. One of the things about PTSD is that keeping a job is a bitch. It is really, really difficult because you keep getting fired because of your temper and being confrontational. So it is really tough to keep a job. So I would talk to these people that have been homeless and they're relying on the food bank, and I would give them a voice and do interviews and publish it. Why the hell am I going down this rabbit hole?
I'm not sure. But
I don't know. But it is the same. People think all the time, I'm not in sales. Yeah, you are. Everybody is. Who's got kids in the room? You are absolutely in sales, but you're not nearly as good at it as your kids. Because kids, they drive the purchases. Dad, mommy, please, last time, I promise. That's not a great sales technique. You can't really do it in nonprofit, but it works. My kids get the stuff. But it's the same. If you're in communications, it is sales. And I'll just close with the definition of sales. Everybody's got a different one. I'd like to share mine, but first, what's the definition of sales for anybody? How would you define it in the Webster's dictionary? Anybody want to throw it out? How would you define sales?
Exchanging business services for monetary funds.
That's right out of Webster's dictionary for sure.
Transference of my belief to you.
Ooh, I like that too. Transference of my belief to you.
Money comes later.
Money comes later. For myself, and I hope this helps, because a lot of people, because sales, gross, right? Icky, ugh, slight, sleazy, slimy. But what I would suggest is sales is simply the truth. Because the truth is, you and I should do business together, or we should not. And either is fine, but let's figure it out. Should we or should we not? It's no different if you're dating, if you're asking for a donor, it's the same. Is this the charity I should donate to, or is it not? What's the truth? Well, let's find out, and it's not easy to find that truth. But that's, for me, the truth is sales.
There is just one another way to learn, right? Is reverse engineer.
Reverse engineer the heck out of your competitors. There are already charities, non-profits who are doing an amazing job. There are tools out there. You can go to Facebook ad library. You can look at anyone's ads out there. Just type in non-profit, it will show you all the ads out there. There is a website called What Runs Where. You just put in someone's website, it will tell you what CMS they are using, if they are using Google AdWords, analytics. So you can do a lot of competitive intelligence, and you can pretty much reverse engineer anyone's successful campaign. So that's also one way to learn as well.
Actually, it's funny that you mentioned the Calgary Food Bank, because I modeled our Canada Helps page after theirs, because theirs was really, really good.
I didn't do it. One more question before we go.
What's the best way to turn somebody down and politely say no when they ask for a discount when it comes to sales? Say a discount for your services.
This took me 8 years to learn. Honest to God, at the end of the day, I'm good at what I do. And it's okay to say I'm good at what I do. My rates are backwards engineered by the hour based on what I pay my people. And at the end of the day, you're paying for somebody that invests in their education. You're paying for somebody that's passionate about what they do. You're paying for somebody who is skilled in something that you are not. You are increasing your economy. You are increasing your own value because you will learn something from dealing with me. And at the end of the day, I've earned the right to not apologize for what I charge. And if anybody has a problem with that now, I'm sorry, there's 17 other accounting firms on the block, please go help yourself. And it really has to be that way. And I'm not ashamed to say that anymore. I used to be ashamed to say that anymore, but I work damn hard for what I do, and I love what I do. And unfortunately in my industry, there's a lot of people that are just in it for the money and don't actually love what they do. I make a difference in people's lives. I charge an appropriate price to do so, and I'm damn proud of it. That has to be the answer all the time.
In other words, no. What's your industry?
Travel insurance.
Travel insurance. So another way, as opposed to having to defend, justify, and explain, because you don't have to defend, justify, and explain. One of the tricks I used to go and say is, oh, we're negotiating, are we? Okay, well, have your suite of services, put them in front of them. Here's all my services, which one would you like me to cut out? Get them to say it.
Right.
You don't have to defend, justify, and explain. You're good at what you do. And you don't have to provide a discount, for sure. But make them say it. Which one of these services would you like me to cut out? How would you like to scrimp and save here? Put it back in their corner.
Yeah.
We've had a question for the lady.
I had a question for Mitch. So you do marketing, you said kind of for like a large...
an industrial company.
Yeah. So your goal would probably be to get larger contracts, correct?
Yeah.
So larger contracts only come by every once in a while. How do you measure your metrics of like social media or advertising for a contract that kind of comes through?
Yeah, so in our business, it's pretty hard to know how that lead became a SQL sales qualified lead. But when we do our marketing automation, there's things like Google Tag Manager. Have you heard of Google Tag Manager? A little bit? Google Tag Manager. It allows you to ID basically your campaigns. So we send out campaigns and we use Google Tag Manager to separate that, to see where those leads are coming in and how they're coming in and funneling down into our company's funnel. We're a very difficult business because we have day jobs where we send crews out that day, and we also have large projects that we're hunting that are 6 to 2 years, 3 years down the road. What we're trying to achieve is constantly stay at the top of the mind for all of our customers, and all of our customers are different. They're construction groups, they're oil and gas companies, they're mines, they're everything. So there's marketing automation tools that allow you to track your content that you put out and funnel it in. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Just to add that a little bit, it gets more complex the larger the company is, right? I used to be a PM for a Fortune 500 company. Half of their decision-making process is based off a percentage of how much money they need to lose because of the profits that they made that year. So sometimes for larger companies, losing money in marketing is just a way for them to get out of paying tax. So it's another way to understand that. It's not necessarily their ad spend per ad. They are also looking to lose money at the same time.
One more? One more? Don't. Oh. Okay, Lawrence, go ahead.
What's the method for reducing your cost per lead? Is it simply just narrowing search results,
Testing,
or is it
measuring. Measuring. The more you narrow down your ideal customer, the less you'll pay per click.
The other side is listening to what questions people ask you when they actually get in front of you. You can start to identify what other people are probably feeling, and you can use that. And I mean, I get an easy one here with accounting because nobody likes accounting. So you're listening to the top 10 questions that you get asked over and over and over again, and you go, interesting. So everybody's a diverse background is asking you the same things over and over and over again. It's a guilty easy in. So you can create a demographic that's built around a like-minded question and concern that people have, and go, I can anticipate that a number of people are gonna have this problem based on how many statistically, I've sat down with that said, hey, I'm scared of this, I don't understand that, I'm worried about this, I don't know anything about this, and it helps you narrow that down based on a common worry, based on a communal fear. And it's not that we're preying on people's fears, it's going, I have the answer to the thing that scares you the most. Right? My taglines are you sick and tired of paying too much to get your taxes done? Well, most people will go, huh, Interesting, yes I am. And I may not be the person that you end up using, but at the end of the day I'm raising the question. And I'm also trying backwards to make the people in my industry more accountable for what they do, right? There's a lot of people that charge a lot of money for accounting, and I'm going, hey, you can get good service for an affordable price. Are you sick and tired of paying too much? Have you ever looked for a second opinion? All of you guys, no matter what your industries are, if you're asking people that are looking for your service, whether they're using anybody else or not, if you're constantly questioning the people in your industry and basically saying, hey, what's the top 10 things I get asked on a regular basis? You're using your clients to create your future demographics. And that's all free.
Tom, go ahead.
My question was for Raphael. Could you just share what you said was post a picture of yourself and say what 5 things?
Oh, top 5 things that you love. So mine would be family, friends, Edmonton, Oilers, Eskimos, done.
On Facebook or on Instagram or anywhere?
On any of them, because someone will relate to you and say, oh, he loves pasta with white sauce. And there you go. Yeah.
All right, I have one question I'm going to ask because it started out the day, we've gone to story, we're hearing something technically, but I don't want it to be lost because it is one of the most important things we do here, and this is geared towards Nick and Aaron. We talked about getting really specific with your audience and getting narrow. We have the foremost expert on the Chinese community in the marketplace here, one of the foremost experts on YouTube, specifically building an engine to bring people in. Guys, what is the importance of understanding what your audience is? And Nick brought it up when he talked for a moment. Understand what your audience wants, not just, I want to talk to the Chinese marketplace because I want their money. Okay, great, so does everybody else. We want white or Chinese or brown or it doesn't matter. This is what we want, okay? But what is the importance of segmentation, or what should we understand if we're going to make it work for our business? We're going to make it work for our market.
I believe it's the most important thing. You need to meet with them first. So join lots of the events that with everything happening in the community, so we can find out what's happening in the community first. For example, I want to give an example of the nonprofit organizations that you are asking for the donations. For me, I will be engaged with those business owners and create more partnership with Chinese organizations and Chinese charities, Chinese business owners, because they make huge donations to lots of the people, to lots of the organizations, which is have no idea how much that money will be. So the more opportunity they can work with organizations, the more money you can get, because it's all about opportunity and marketing. Because when you ask money, you are asking opportunity. They can provide you an opportunity to raise your money. We have been done this so many times, and we help small organizations, we have large organizations. So to me, your target audience is not just a normal people. You need to understand your value and understand what they need first, so you can provide it to them. That's very important. And trust me, the social media is just a tool. You are the important resources of everything. Whatever you share to people, people trust. When people trust you, they trust whatever is information you share, and they will share your information to people around them. If you can make your people happy and feeling wonderful around you, so they will pass your positive energy to people around them. And that's how we grew 6 years ago and become the largest one in Alberta, because we share all the positive information to all Asian people around us, and we ask them to share out to all people around them. It doesn't matter where they're from, where they are from, locally Caucasian people, or they're from Japan, they're from Korea, and we host lots of the lucky draw events for 6 years non-stop every week. So for example, we draw free iPhone for one winner every month. We lucky draw to give free meals from one of the restaurants every week, and we give away free passes for bus, for attractions in West Edmonton Mall. We give free facial stuff. We give lots of the free stuff to everybody to let them understand that whatever you received, you need to give away to people. Whatever you learned, you need to teach people. And that's how we grow, and that's what I suggest everybody here today, and this is what we need to do in the future. Yes.
Yeah, what do you guys use?
We just ask people to share whatever information that we ask you to share, and you got a chance to win something. Just like tonight, I also own a restaurant. So if you go to my restaurant, have a dinner, you got a chance to win a free Western Mall attraction passes, choice passes, and also I also own a spa salon. So if you, yeah, I will also do this business. Yeah, so you can get a free lasers facial services from a spa salon as well. Yeah, so.
How do you do it? Do you post a picture and say tag?
No, I don't really need to do that. I only post on my WeChat because it's an article. So when people see it, they can share on their WeChat platforms. So everybody knows, because I already have a large follower base on our WeChat official account. So basically, almost 80% of the Chinese people will receive it in Edmonton. So they will share to whoever they would love to share. And they even can share some of their Caucasian people as well. Because, if I can bring this into Caucasian communities, who doesn't want a free iPhone once a month, right? Who doesn't want to go for a restaurant for a free meal every week? And we can make that happen, and everybody can make that happen to everybody. And that will potentially create your business opportunity as well, because you're not just making a follower, you're making friends. So people trust you, people love you. Thank you.
Eric?
All right, you guys want a specifically actionable and tactical answer to that question? Are you ready to take some notes? Okay, so remember in my talk I mentioned frequently asked questions. So often I'll ask business owners, what are your commonly frequently asked questions? And they'll come back with questions directly about their solution. Now, often those questions aren't actually the questions that customers are asking because they don't know what their problem really is. So in order to fix that, I recommend market research. So whenever we help launch a program, I make our clients go talk to their potential clients and have a specific script. I was trying to pull that specific script up, so we're just going to go from memory. Specifically, it is, what fears do you have around X? What frustrations do you have around X? What does success with X look like? And using their word-for-word responses, you can create content that helps them feel like that you understand them, where they're at. And then it's your responsibility to reframe what they think their problem is into what their problem actually is. So, for example, I might be like, well, my sales are low. Okay, do people understand your offer? Are you hitting their actual pain points? Like, what is the actual problem? But you need to take them from what they feel their problem is to where, and exposing what their blind spot actually is, and then showing them how your solution fixes their blind spot that fixes the original pain point in the first place. Now, how that translates to YouTube and search is that you can create videos on those topics using the words that your clients use.
On specific wording, when I got started for my bookkeeping firm, my tagline was, I want your ugly, daunting box of paperwork. It's simple. And for 8 years, the SOS in my business name has resonated with people. And I'll still get people that message me and go, oh my God, you're not going to judge me because I'm going to hand you 15 shoeboxes. I go, bring on the shoeboxes. Because that's what we do. I don't care what state of affairs your books are in because you're hiring me. I'm going to fix it. It doesn't do me any good to judge you, but it resonates with people. And once you identify that you already know, you're prepared for them to come in with an ugly, daunting box of paperwork, they feel better about it.
Can you repeat those 3 questions?
Sure. So, what fears do you have around X? And X is the thing that you do, or whatever result it is that you're creating your program, service, offering around. So, for example, there was insurance a little bit earlier. What fears do you have around buying insurance? What frustrations do you have around buying insurance? What does getting the right insurance plan look, feel, and sound like to you? And then, again, I cannot stress word for word what they say. Record the call. Don't ad-lib it. Don't add extra stuff. Because that's exactly what they're going to type into the search box.
So, gay. Who got their one thing?
I have one quick question. Who here either owns a microphone or is going to buy one after today?
Oh, I have a few.
Perfect. If you got one thing out of my talk.
What brand?
Boza. The Boya. It's in my slides. I think they're going to be sending it out.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll be sending that out after. Who got their one thing? Who's having fun? Come on, guys. Give me a little round. Who's having fun? There we go. That's quite a bit better. Give me a round of applause for our panel. Now, this is the awkward part. I'm sorry, I want to kick all of them out and say, go find a seat. Ali and I are going to finish up talking for the day. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. We have heard tools, stuff, processes, ways, ideas, thoughts, programs, targeting, blah, 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 blah. Take this out of your pocket, turn it on, and do something with it. Because if you don't, to be selfish for a moment, somebody else will. And then you won't eat, and then your family won't eat, and then you'll end up being interviewed by Nish. And Nish is a really great guy. But chances are I'll interview you when you're on the other end of the spectrum instead. So you need to act first. You need to pick the thing. You need to express your voice. And when you talk to your audience, you need to be specific about who that audience is. If you want to consistently generate more business on social media, you don't need 2 hours a day or 3 hours a day or 10 hours a day or 12 hours a day or 20 hours a day. You don't need to spend thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. You need to pull it out and you need to do it one time. And to quote Raph sitting here, you need to go on there and you need to talk to one person. And then you need to talk to two, and then you need to talk to three, and then you need to talk to five. And if you're going to do one thing real quick, you said, I'm going to go on there, I'm going to take a picture, and I'm going to talk about the 5 things that I like. What does that have to do with plumbing? The guy sells more plumbing than anybody else, except for maybe this man did, and hey, he quit. So, Raph, the competition's going down, buddy. Good job. What does that have to do with plumbing? It has everything to do with plumbing, because we will buy from a plumber that we think we know, like, or trust. We will buy from an accountant that we think, know, like, or trust. We will buy from a business coach that we think, know, like, or trust. We will buy from a marketing partner. We will buy shoes. We will buy clothes. We will go to West End Mall and dump thousands of dollars at Louis Vuitton, all because we like, know, and trust Nick. And probably we're Chinese. But he's moving into the Caucasian community. You heard that here first, right? Yes. Commission, buddy, commission. Solid. To sell more consistently on social media, you need to start the behavior. And then it grows from there.
So, we covered a lot of tactical and technical topics today. We talked about Twitter, we talked about YouTube. One thing you probably learned from hearing all of us, the shit works, right? It works. You just basically need to believe in it, right? And start doing it, as God said, right? First thing is to show up at the gym, which I struggle with. But that's my first battle, right? To show up at the gym. The other things come later. Protein powder, how much bench press can I do? What time do I wake up? People got lost in the mechanics. The first thing is to show up at the gym. But there is a critical process in marketing that I think we have not touched base today, is our destination as a business, right? It could be in revenue, it could be in lifestyle. But let's take an example of our journey. You're looking to go to Kelowna, okay? So if you want to go to Kelowna, what do? We plan, probably just figure out a day, find out the weather, right? So anything you basically go and apply, always the first thing you do is you figure it out that how the hell you're gonna do that, okay? Which is a number one thing is basically before you jump into the tactical execution and tricks, first take a step back and say, okay, where the hell am I headed? Am I going to Los Cabo, where I'm aiming for Kelowna, right? So having a strategy is critical, guys, and a lot of the things we talked about, who's your target audience? What's your positioning like, right? Common question I ask to small business owners, like, what do you do? I'm a financial advisor, okay? In this room we have 5 financial advisors, right? Okay, but that's like every car is not a Porsche, every car is not a Toyota, right? Car companies have very clear positioning, right? What does come in your head when I say Häagen-Dazs? What kind of ice cream? What does come in your head when I talk about Champion's ice cream? Buckets, cheap, right? And ice cream. So your positioning in the marketplace is very critical, because if you don't know that where your positioning stands, you're going after the wrong guy. That's why you get the questions like, I need discounts. Because you could be standing in front of the wrong guy too if you reverse engineer that. And what Danielle said is that's true too. You shouldn't be discounting, yes. So strategy is number one thing. That where are we going? We are going Kelowna. We need to plan. We're gonna leave in the morning. We're gonna get there after 9 hours drive. That's like marketing. You put together a plan, a strategy, and then you put work in it, right? Tell me this thing that how much impact it can make on your business if your business pretty much doubles in next year. I don't think so it will make any impact for anyone in the room. No. All right, so there you go, right? So the people who sat here today, some of them have done that. They went through the exact same path. First thing they decided was to show up consistently. And the second thing they decided is they put in their time, energy, and resources in order to achieve that. Right? So believe in the process, that the process works. Okay? And if you struggle with that, you're like, Ali, we don't know, right? We don't know where Kelowna is. The logistics are too hard. I've been doing it. I've been trying to get to Kelowna for the last 2 years. But I cannot find Kelowna in Canada. If you're lost, right, then there are 2 papers in front of you, basically, right? This is a 12-month guided program for people who want to go on an accelerated growth pace. The people who you heard today are basically one way or other the products of that. You see a working examples of someone who's basically executing from podcasting to social media, on Facebook ads, on LinkedIn, and different places. So, if I ask you a question, right, after listening to us today, are you clear about social media and how to go and run it? Who's clear? Raise your hands. Okay. So, the question is, there's only two outcomes from here, okay? And this is my honest advice to you. Okay? Either you go and take an initiative, right? See, information is free. You can go and YouTube it, you can go and find out a lot of information, but take initiative. And if you struggle with that piece, if you cannot figure that out, then get some help. It's okay. Get some help, go on an accelerated pace, right? So you go to the destination at the right time. And because this is like me, right? I go to gym, but I know I'm not serious about actually getting in shape. Seriously. If I would show up and I would probably gonna get a trainer. So in 2 to 3 months, I can figure this piece out. And it's the same thing with your business. So if you want to figure it out over the next 12 months, right? We have this program, it's an accelerated program, and you don't have to make the decision today, but if you can, back, we have a team there. And if you have any questions about the program, how does it work? What do we cover, right? End of the day, the program is designed to do one thing, to help you make more money. That's it.
The last element here for the day, and yes, once again, we're asking you guys to do something. What is that? Give us money? No. Take action. The last element that was here for the entire day that you had with all of the speakers that we brought together, and in some instances they are close friends, in many instances they're clients or former clients, or we've worked together in the past. Every one of them got help from somebody else at some point. Leave here today with the information you have. Take action, take massive action. Do something fundamentally different than you did yesterday. Do it different tomorrow than you did today. Do it the day after, and you will have success. This is repetitive. If the idea, the thought of that still leaves you worried, frustrated, fearful, scared, or with a sense of, I'm not sure, then find help. But do it now. Because otherwise, the largest resource that you gain today, not access to myself or Ali or any of the other speakers that we have, is having invested in education for yourself and then leaving it in the room when you leave. You spent an entire day. Figure out what you were worth, what that time is worth, and if that investment was left in the room, you have wasted the money. Take the amount of money that it would cost to have you stand in the room today. Who here knows what they're worth per hour? Who here thinks the amount in today that they spent, and yes, for this program for a moment, is going to buy them months of outside help if they leverage that money with somebody else? I know how to do this because I educate other people every day on marketing and sales and operations and hiring and strategic planning. I pay other people to market for me. Because the return on my time to have somebody else do what I do not have the opportunity to do, to give me more later, is a massive return, and it's something you cannot leave this room over without at least contemplating. And that is not to give Mitch and Ali money, but it's to decide to leverage the education you have today. You either do it yourself or find someone to do it for you. And that is the final piece that we can give you today. You either take what you got today and you have invested your rate for the entire day in education. So leverage it and allow it to grow your business. But if you can't, because of time or because of money, you need to find somebody else to do it. Because that return on investment will have been wasted if you don't take it with you. Who here got their one thing? I need more enthusiasm now. Who got here? Who got their one thing? Who's having fun? Who learned something? Who's taking their education with them? Come on, guys. Who's taking their education with them? Thank you very much. If you want to take action and you want help, fill out the form. Ask our team at the back. Just even if it's questions and comments. If not, go forward. But what I will ask from you is communicate with everybody in here. Because right now you have a shared experience. And that is something to take with you too. Fair?
Fair.
Wonderful?
Fair. Yep.
Guys, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for investing your time with us as well. Thank you for trusting us with your businesses and your lives. Thank you very much.
Well, one thing, we still have some gifts to give away. See,
If they want to connect with everybody.
so two things, right? Let me get rid of my chocolate chip cookie first. All right, so this is the phone number 780-240-6823. Please send your name, Facebook, IG, LinkedIn, Twitter, web, other, and